And we are live, Wrestle Pierce Sunday special here. We're gonna do a Wrestle Pierce mid-year recap and review.
What the fuck is this music?
I'm your host, Backup Hangman.
That shit sounded like when you click on some like mad old porn, bro. And
Did you see Rob's face?
it's just
Rob's face when he hit play on that was incredible, man.
like, bro, you're seeing a woman shake some like 1980s titties, bro. Like that's what that music sounded like.
Joe, Rob was like, nah, this ain't gonna work.
All of your confidence in that bit drained as you hit play on that thing. That was
He was like,
incredible.
"Wait."
I've been there, brother. I've been there.
When you try out the spot, you lay down in the back. Ladies and gentlemen, Wrestle Pierce Live Sunday special. We're here to review 2023 as a whole through the midway point of the year. We got 6 months through the books, and so it was just time to kind of talk about it, kind of review the year, kind of give you guys the highlights, the lowlights, have a broad general discussion of the year that we've had in wrestling, which has been very, very eventful and very exciting. So I'm excited to do that with everybody here today. We're going to have our mid-year awards. We're going to throw it around the panel and do that. So, yeah, man, I'm joined by an all-star panel here of Joe Holbert, AO, and Rob. So, listen, guys, if you haven't, be sure to like the video, super chat, send comments, and subscribe. And so, with that said, Joe Holbert, man, how's it going, brother?
Tremendous. I don't always join you on these Sunday shows, but when you hit me up with this particular show, it sounded fun. And I think it's been, to use your word, eventful. It's an understatement, right? It's been a wild year thus far, and I think we're going to have a really good time kind of recapping the highs and lows here in our sort of broad conversation as we come to some awards. So very, very excited to be here, my friend.
Absolutely, man. It's great to have you, man. This is your first podcast appearance since your big Usos video, which is on the channel. It went live on Friday. Your video on how the Usos became WrestleMania main eventers. Make sure to check that video out if you haven't already. That's a great video. Yeah, man. Usos, man, from the pre-shows to the main event of WrestleMania. Big time stuff. And Joe Holbert, no better guy than him to kind of cover that and chronicle that whole situation. So good stuff. Make sure to check out that video. Rob, it's your first time on my Sunday show. How are you doing today, sir?
I had nothing planned to do today, as I do every day. But I woke up. Ibu hit me up. He said, we got these mid-year awards. Would you like to be a part of it? And I said, hey, man, because all my opinions are objective and everything that I see is true. So what better way to show that than by giving my answers and my opinions on who deserves what award in the middle of the year?
Absolutely, man. It's good to have you, man. Rob, one quarter of the Friday on Pierce crew, so it's good to have Rob on. First show I've done with Rob in a couple months, actually, so should be fun. Big AO, Mr. Unpierced himself, Mr. Agenda Pusher on the timeline, Russell Pierce's EVP.
Never.
You have joined us on this lovely Sunday to have a very healthy, exciting, unbiased discussion, I presume, on the first half of 2023. How are you feeling today, sir?
Unbiased as I always am.
Right.
But I didn't choose to do this show out of the love of the game. I didn't choose to do this show because I just felt like I had to, grab a mic today. But when I heard backup Stalin himself was gonna have a mid-year awards and just lie to the Wrestle Pierce Galaxy about who you think is the best, who you think is the worst, I had to intervene. I knew I immediately had to step in. I knew I had to stop this. You're going to say some bullshit like El Hijo del Dr. Death the Fourth is Wrestler of the Year, wrestled down in fucking Billy Corgan's NWA and shit. And I'm here to set the record straight. I'm here to let people know what it really is.
You know what? I'm gonna stop you right there. Elio del Dr. Wagner Jr. is having a nice year in Pro Wrestling Noah. He's quickly becoming one of their better gaijins. Nice big man luchador. We haven't had one of those in a while on a major stage. So shout out to Elio del Dr. Wagner Jr. Really nice wrestler. Yeah, man. Very excited to get into this whole thing. I'm really, really into this topic, actually. I've been wanting to do this for a minute. Wanted to do an article, but I'm a lazy piece of shit, and I'm not articulate like Joe Holbert. So I was like, let me just kind of talk through it with some guys and go through it. So, yeah, man, Joe, 2023. This year is going really fast. Feels like it was just yesterday that I was taking my December hiatus, watching you guys on Worldwide. And like I said at the top, man, it's a very eventful year. And just so much has happened. When you think about wrestling in 2023, right? What are your biggest takeaways at this point, kind of halfway through the year, when it comes to just um, the trajectory of the business, some of these promotions, where they're going, and everything?
You know, I'm going to be very careful tonight not to be full like enjoy all wrestling guy, but I have to say I think it has been a quite extraordinary year thus far, and I think there's so much to enjoy that I think it's hard not to have a kind of positive outlook on the wider picture. The one thing for me on a kind of nerdy level that I think has been really apparent, it feels like we are slowly but surely getting a big time return to true variety inside the ropes. There was a period there in the 2010s, and let me be clear, I was a fan of this era, but certainly there was a stretch where it felt like everyone was trying to replicate one particular style. And in WWE with NXT, they were even veering in that direction, right? And it was kind of that you could see this happening. And I look at, if I look at kind of a list of my favorite matches of the year, whatever it may be, or even if I look at a match guide sometimes after I'm done writing it, it's like, it feels like we've really restored some variety in that regard. And there is a range of styles and paces and structures and different things to delve into. So for me, that's like something that I've really appreciated. But again, overall, like big picture, I just think there is so much good pro wrestling right now. It's actually kind of staggering each week you reflect on it. Like we do our wrestler of the week on Wrestle Purist, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
how many weeks do we announce that winner and not like look at that winner and say that was more than fair, right? Like someone had a substantial week almost every single week. So I'm loving it. But if I was just to single out one kind of broad thing, the variety stands out for me for sure.
Rob?
Hold
Ayo?
on.
This nigga Robin. Like, you see
Oh,
what
my
I have to
Wi-Fi
deal
was
with
speaking out. I'm sorry.
on
Yeah,
Fridays.
it's crazy.
I'm
Sorry,
back.
dude.
I'm back. I'm
Real
sorry. My
quick.
really
Wi-Fi was
nasty.
going crazy.
Rob, 2023, man, what are your big takeaways from the year, man? What do you think about wrestling in 2023? How are you feeling about the business and where some of these promotions are going, man? Talk to me.
Well, me being the only objective enjoy wrestling person here.
True.
I watch
Certainly.
all companies, including MLW,
He
who
does
just
watch
got
MLW.
who just got Don King. They've just acquired Don King. So let the record, hey, let the streets know we back up. But you watch all these promotions like we've seen New Japan collaborate with Noah. We've even seen crazy shit like a WWE contracted wrestler defending a New Japan belt in the Tokyo Dome, and so
That did happen.
come,
Wow.
yeah, you come to now and where we're at in wrestling in 2023, and WWE is doing international shows in other countries almost every few months. It seems like in wrestling nowadays, it really does seem like it's a variety. Like, not a lot of people like WWE, but with Triple H in charge now, you can get what you want from there. From AEW, you can still get what you want. Not so much on Saturdays, but on Wednesdays you can come and get whatever you need. You just got all these different promotions doing so many different things. Like, I think soon, I think like next week or something like that, is Kenny versus Vikingo too.
In
We already
Mexico,
saw the
yeah.
first one. Yeah, we already saw the first one on Dynamite, and so it's a really good year for professional wrestling and the enjoy wrestling people such as myself.
Big AL, man, how are you feeling about the business in 2023? What do you make of this year? What are some of your biggest takeaways through 6 months?
My biggest takeaways through 6 months of 2023. Puro is back. New Japan Pro
Absolutely.
Wrestling is back, nigga. You feel me? Hey,
Mhm.
the everything on the Western front, everything over here, it's up and down. There's a lot of shit I like. There's a lot of shit I don't like.
Right.
We gonna get into it, but I'm very excited that the first promotion that I really ever loved, New Japan Pro Wrestling, is back on top, nigga. Number one.
Yeah, that's one of my actually two major takeaways as well, AO. The Japanese wrestling scene, they were kind of late to get out of the pandemic compared to all the other places, right? As we started to open up in 2021, they were still kind of doing spaced out seating, and they were very restrictive in terms of what audiences were allowed to do. And it was kind of tough because of that. For me as a fan, I love Japanese professional wrestling, right? And it was just tough because it's like, I try to watch New Japan or Noah or wherever, or DDT or whatever promotion it would be. And it's like clap crowds, sparse seating. That's just not how wrestling is supposed to be. And no matter how good the work is, it's tough to overcome that for sustained periods. And so to see these shows kind of come back in full force with lively crowds, there's definitely been a big shift in the business in Japan right now in terms of that. And simultaneously, you're starting to notice now all these companies are starting to make radical shifts in where they're going with certain talents as a result. It seemed like a lot of these companies' plans, booking-wise, were on pause as a result of the pandemic. And now that we're kind of getting back to normal, you're seeing major changes in New Japan and these companies. So that would be my big takeaway, honestly, is just what's happening in Japan. And the other one is just the sustained momentum business-wise of the WWE. Because I look at the promotion and it's like they're a company that more so than ever have very much put their line in the sand and distinguished who they are for in terms of like wrestling fans, right? And it's very much like WWE is for people who like WWE. And the story of the 2010s of the promotions is being a heel promotion that was fighting their fan base. You know, no matter what year it was, you'll see the fans were not happy with the creative decisions that the promotion was making. The fans were always complaining about the company. The fans weren't happy with the company. But the company finds itself in a place now where like the people that like WWE are very, very happy with their product. And as a result of being super served, I think it's reflecting in just kind of the business metrics and the trends year over year in almost every category. So it's something worth noting because, broadly speaking, it's reflected in a better product than maybe, the last few years. So it's worth mentioning. But yeah, man, we're going to get into all of this, guys. We're going to get into the awards. Again, make sure to like the video, comment, super chat if you haven't. We're definitely going to read you guys' super chats as people are still filing in here. We got 164 live viewers. Appreciate you guys for coming by. This is the 2023 mid-year review. And yeah, man, you know what? Let's go right into it. We'll go right with a bang. Joe Hulbert. Who's the fucking wrestler of the year?
So this was the one award that when you sent me a list earlier, I thought I should probably. I'm going to give that one some thought. I didn't want to be ill prepared for that question, if none other. My conclusion was, and I'm willing to be swayed on this. I'm not sure that at least two of our four panelists are going to try and convince me otherwise. But my immediate reaction was, I think it's Kenny Omega.
Oh wow!
Just a habitual ball knower.
Wow.
That's all we love, Joe. That's all we love, Joe.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting Robert Ayo to try and convince me otherwise, but just to kind of, give my reasoning and before we get into bigger detail, the two Ospreay matches speak for themselves, right? But when you combine that with all the work alongside the Elite, as well as the Moxley cage match, the Vikingo match, and then even the two matches on TV with Cobb and Wheeler Yuta, the latter I thought was just fabulous. So I think he's had an incredible year. And also, let's be real, I think Wrestler of the Year is paired to narratives in some way. And Kenny Omega, we was without him for far too long. And it's been great to have him back. Like, there's every time you see a singles graphic, there's a novelty to that. There really is. So it's Kenny Omega for me thus far.
You know what, man? I agree with the whole thing about Wrestler of the Year being narrative based because it's just like, what's the story of the year? Who's making an imprint this year? Who's really making their presence known and felt in a way that distinguishes them from everybody else? Who's really making their promotion theirs? Who's really elevating their promotion? Who's taking it to another level?
I know where he's going with this.
Who's really just kind of clawing into the promotion and grabbing it by the balls and just carrying it on his back.
All right.
So, with all of that said, I think about who is the man that's really guiding their company in a way that sets himself apart from everybody else. And I got to say, Joe.
This is a terrible bit.
It is someone from AEW. I got to say. It's Max Friedman. In my opinion, MJF is the wrestler of the year.
This is a terrible bit.
He's going to explode.
Terrible bit.
Okay, before we go any further, I will. As one of Max's big matches, I want to credit as one of my matches of the year, and I think we'll talk about that with, triumph and happiness. But I just don't know if there's enough around that for me to have him above Kenny Omega personally. I'm gonna be honest,
So,
but it's just me.
here's the thing. I made this choice. I slept on it multiple nights in a row. Decided I'm in too deep and I have to stick with it. So I'm going to do my best to explain this.
You slept thinking about another man?
Happens sometimes. Listen, MJF is my wrestler of the year, and it's because AEW feels like his show right now. Dynamite feels like his, for better or for worse. And obviously people are going to have their preferences about like, style and things like that.
Definitely.
But Dynamite feels like his show this year. I feel like when I think about Dynamite in 2023 and the vibe of the show and the direction of the show, it very much feels like it's kind of aligned under his image and flavor, generally speaking, more so than it has like a Kenny Omega. It just kind of feels like he's had a bigger mark on where the company is going from that standpoint. Kenny is somebody who I feel is a prestigious living legend who kind of comes in when he comes in to do what he does best, and it's always great. And you might even have a point that he has the most great matches this year. You may very well have that point. But when I think about Max, I think about somebody who his reign has some layers to me. He's somebody that he started his title reign and you thought it was going in one way, and then you thought, and then he'd add another chapter to it. He'd add another layer to it. He'd bring this guy and he'd bring that guy in, and he's been very ambitious in what he's attempted to do in this run. Whether it be elevating talent that maybe aren't quite at a championship level. But I think he's done good work in spite of some of the limitations and or handicaps. Jungle Boy is not a pay-per-view main eventer, nor is Sammy Guevara or Darby Allin. But he had a four-way with those guys that, now that it's all said and done, I'd like to say it's one of the best four-ways I've ever seen. I look at an Adam Cole, and Adam Cole is somebody that was a Cole television entity and somebody who hadn't had his TV character swagger in a long time. And, it's still early on, but in this almost lighthearted comedic phase of his storyline with Adam Cole, I'm really enjoying the results. And so my rest of the year is MJF because of these things, but beyond that, he's taken his game to another level in the ring. I look at the matches with Konosuke Takeshita or Adam Cole, and I think those are very, very good matches. And like you mentioned with Bryan Danielson, I thought he had the best Iron Man match I've ever seen. And listen, it takes two to tango. Bryan Danielson is absolutely maybe the best worker ever, right? But it's a two-person dance. And Max was the other end of that, and I thought that match was amazing. And yeah, man, I think MJF is the best wrestler this year so far. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm picking. That's what I'm sticking with, even if it kills me. Ayo, tell me why you agree.
You're completely fucking delusional. MJF, well, I will say he's won me over a little bit with this Adam Cole thing. And he Danielson was able to drag him to a very good Iron Man match. His year doesn't touch Kenny Omega's. Kenny Omega is AEW, bro. When Kenny Omega has a match graphic announced, it's a party on the fucking timeline. It's a party on the internet, nigga. People tune in. A good friend of Backup Hangman on the timeline tweeted, Trish Spears, you're familiar with the Hangman. She tweeted only 3 times has the ratings gone up from the 7th quarter to the 8th in Dynamite in 2023. And Kenny Omega was in the main event those 3 times. So he's having the best effect on the business when he's on television. He's having the best effect in ring. You look at, bro, two pay-per-views. 2 pay-per-views in 1 year. He's went out there and completely emasculated a top 3 professional wrestler in the world, that is Kazuchika Okada, by making people being like, yo, this nigga should have main evented, bro. Danielson said it himself. He was like, bro, like Osprey and Kenny should have just main evented. We really had no business going last. Danielson said it himself after the Okada match. You see, he's having this effect on 2 of the best workers of all time. You feel me? Then you look at the Moxie Cage match. Then you look at the Viking Go match. Then you look at what he's doing with the Elite. Anarchy in the Arena was amazing. Then you have the 6-man that they had against House of Black. Then you have the 6-man that they had against Death Triangle. Like what are we talking about?
When it comes to the main character of All Elite Wrestling, it's not Cody, it's not Chris Jericho, it's not the Young Bucks. It's not CM Punk, nigga. It's not Hangman Page. It's not none of them niggas. It's Kenny by God Omega.
By fucking God, Omega. Bro,
Listen,
his music hits. People act like they're in the presence of a god. People act like they're in the presence of a living legend, which they are. You feel
When
me?
Devil Sky hits, nigga, they do the same thing.
Devil Sky's a great theme. Look, man, Kenny. Look again. I do want to maintain this publicly. I think Kenny's having a tremendous year. I agree with everything Joe Holbert has said about him, and I do think it's so close that like it's like
not
a
close.
it's like I think it's close in the sense
how many television matches has Max had this year?
It doesn't matter, you know.
Yes, it does. We're talking about Wrestler of the Year.
Yeah, but you know it's an all-encompassing award. You know what I mean? Like it really is.
Oh, he about to be one of them people that be like, oh, it's Wrestler of the Year, but it's got to be all around. So is this promo good?
You're telling me someone's Wrestler of the Year and you've liked 4 matches they've had in 6 months.
I've liked every match they've had in 6 months.
You've liked every match they had.
You like that Dynamite tag match?
Yeah, I did like it. Yeah, I did.
Hangman.
It was very good.
You buried the Tanahashi match.
No, I didn't. I said Tanahashi is cooked. But that doesn't mean I didn't like the match.
It feels to me.
Yes.
It feels as though, and I actually agree with your like assessment of Max. I just don't agree with
him
that translating to him being rest of the year. To me, second to Omega is Moxley, I think. Because I think it's easy. Moxley's been in the background, but look at his catalog this year. You know, he still has those Hangman matches. He's in the Elite BCC feud. He's on the opposite side, right? And last week he had two incredible matches at Korakuen Hall. Just 4
or 5 days ago. Not even last week. 4 or 5 days ago.
You know what Mox feels like?
It's incredible.
He feels like Nikola Jokic, where whether you're paying attention or not, you look at the stat sheet and he's averaging 30, 10, and 10, and you're like, wait, he's doing that this year? And it's like, yeah, Jokic
isn't that good.
John Moxley was hands down Wrestler of the Year in 2022, right?
Yes.
And
in many people's views.
And now the only 2 things that are different in 2023 is 1, Kenny's back, and 2, Mox doesn't have the belt. He was pretty much unanimously Wrestler of the Year, right?
Yeah.
Everything that he was doing to get that label last year, he's still doing it this year. He's still wrestling everywhere. He's still on Dynamite having the match of the night, if not the second best match of the night almost every week. He's still in Japan, putting on. Like I said it on a Wrestle Pierce podcast not too long ago. Moxley is a star in Japan just off of the work he's done in Japan. He's not big American superstar coming over here to grace us with their presence. I guess we really need to cheer. So no, he's a superstar in his own right off of the matches that he's had in Japan. And that's just it's a testament to Mox, because everything that he did to win Wrestler of the Year last year, he's doing it again this year. It's just Kenny's back and Mox doesn't have the belt. Those are the only 2 things that really aren't working for him narratively.
Great shot for John. I'll tell you what, this sustained stretch he's been on these last couple of years is absolutely made him an all-time great to me. You know what I mean? This 3-year run he's been broadly speaking. So he's having a good year too. Joe, you look like you wanted to say something. What's up?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, to piggyback on that, I think even in some ways as a heel, I think he's almost leveled up in some ways, which is an insane thing to say with how great he was in 2022, right? But I think he's having so much fun with this role because he doesn't even have to pretend to be a guy he doesn't want to be now, right? He can be John Moxley in the most authentic way we've seen yet. And I think his best performances in 2023, I think, are some of the best of his whole career. So I think he absolutely is in the conversation.
I'm going to put a pin on John when it comes to another award I want to talk about later. Before we move off this topic, are there just really quickly, just toss some names out? Are there any other people that have cases of any kind for this award, Joe?
So I'm not an expert on All Japan Pro Wrestling, but we have to mention Kento Miyahara, who I have watched maybe 6 matches of this year and have loved every single one of them. The tag match from January was electric. The Yuji Nagata title change match was an insane triumph. That's a beautiful match.
It's great.
Yeah, everyone needs to watch that. So Kento needs to be brought up for sure.
Rob, does Big Rome have a case here for Wrestler of the Year?
Fuck no.
Listen,
just asking Big Ron.
Actually, we're gonna give him his flowers for what he did to Cody at the Grand Stadium.
Listen, you got Royal Rumble, 30-minute banger, crowd invested. Didn't he have a match? Yep, Elimination Chamber, 30-minute banger, crowd invested. WrestleMania, 30-minute banger, crowd
the Cody
invested.
match was tremendous.
Listen, last week, 30 minutes, crowd invested. Listen, I'm just saying, bro. 3 million viewers a week. Some of the, godly, Fast and Furious acting level.
Fast and Furious.
You know what?
Is that a compliment or an insult?
I'll tell you what. You know what? I'm going to pay Roman Reigns a compliment. A lot has been made about his acting ability or lack thereof, depending on who you're talking to. I'll take him over Vin Diesel right now. But continue, Rob.
Hey, listen. I'm just saying. They just telling y'all. I'm just telling y'all what they don't want y'all to hear. They trying to keep him down because he doesn't do moves. Y'all's favorite wrestler for 30 years was Hulk Hogan.
Listen, he just put over John Moxley as second. As number 2 for Wrestler of the Year. What moves is Mox doing?
I'll tell you what, Rob. Big room, like he's back in like it's the Budokan. He's main evented multiple pay-per-views and tag matches.
Listen.
When's the last time Roman Reigns has defended his belt?
WrestleMania.
That doesn't matter.
Roman Reigns was a tag wrestler in the springtime. He's a tag wrestler.
You said what are you?
That's your Wrestler of the Year, the tag team specialist.
Hey, listen.
Hey, I'm gonna stop you. Have you ever had a year where you felt that Nick Jackson was Wrestler of the Year? I know you have.
Of the Year, no. Most outstanding in ring, yeah, probably. But that's not what we're talking about right now.
I was just asking. Ayo, do you think there's anybody we haven't mentioned that has a case for Wrestler of the Year?
Yeah, 100%. What Okada's doing right now needs to be mentioned.
How have we not mentioned?
He's having a fucking career year. I'm gonna get into the gimmick stuff he's doing later if we get to that.
Oh,
get to best gimmick topic because I definitely wanna.
I might shout out
Okada there, but he made Sonata look like a superstar. He's doing 3-way tag team stuff now. He made the Kaito feud is probably number 2 on Feud of the Year for me. Like Okada is doing the most interesting stuff I've seen him do since the Elite have left New Japan. Like since all the Kenny matches and all that shit. Okada is having an incredible fucking year.
Yeah, I agree. This is the most interesting he's been to me in a long time. I'm not an Okada hater by any means, but he definitely has his formula.
This is not true, by the way.
No, I'm not an Okada hater, but
bro, you called him Blonde Randy Orton before.
He called him Tokyo Dome Randy Orton.
I respect the athletic merits of Randall Keith Orton. He just doesn't apply it himself. With Okada, he's so gifted, right? And he's so physically just blessed sounds crazy, but
yo. Come on, man. Come on, man.
The point is
probably best just leave it there, Chief.
Yeah, right. Look, he has a formula, and his formula is great. It garners a lot of high ratings from most people, right? Okada's awesome, but he just wasn't super interesting to me during the pandemic, right? And the run he's on right now, where he's just basically like fuck all these kids and beating the shit out of them. It's great stuff. I'm a big fan of the year he's having this year. I can't wait to see him in the G1. I want to see him face Kaito again. So that's definitely a great shout out. We're gonna get into some super chats because they're starting to kind of pile in now. And so yeah, man, make sure to send them in. Make sure to like the video, do all that stuff. Monty, let's start firing these things off, man. All right, Darren KG 199. I heard Joe did extensive research for his picks. Any comment on that, Joe?
No comment whatsoever. I would just say check your sources, brother.
Thanks, Darren. Darren Walker, £5. MLW's promotion of the year after what happened last night. Don King is here. Rob, you have anything to say about this?
Listen, y'all watch that Alice Kane versus Hammerstone match?
3 favorite spots, Rob.
That's not the point. The point is we got Don King. We here now. We about to get a new TV deal. Showtime wasn't trying to pay us, so we're gonna get a new TV deal soon.
When did you and MLW become us?
Listen, when
I thought-
you get that when you watch 5 episodes in a row like I do.
the
Every
fusion.
5 weeks.
Rob's teams are MLW, the Bloodline, and the Elite. It's a very strange
The big
amalgamation
three.
Fucking
of
Robbie
alliances.
Boomaye Fight Club over here.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Thank you, Darren, for the super chat. Ricky, all right. I'm not reading this.
Rashard Stars, $2 super chat. Ibu, honey, I couldn't have run without your support. Smiley face. You shadow booked that?
Ron DeSantis, $4.99.
Big Ronnie Ron, as Joe likes to call him.
Go ahead, AO. You want to take this one from Big Ron?
Joey Joe, my main man, I name you an honorary American. I always say Joe Holbert's ideals is what every young man in the States should die for. Love you. What are these ideals?
I had no intention to comment before I read the phrase of your ideals, and now I'm leaving it there. Absolutely.
Your ideals.
He's persistent. That's what I'm going to say, folks.
Brainbuster, $1.99. MJF Wrestler of the Year. Brainbuster.
Absolutely not.
This is why you're one of the best guys in our community.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
What?
Ben Dixon, $10. What is that for?
Australian.
Gotcha. These awards seem pretty straightforward. Wrestler of the Year, Joe Holbert. Promotion of the Year, Joe Holbert Promotions. Right Wing Ghoul's favorite podcaster, Joe Holbert. You know, Ben makes a great point. You know what I mean? He makes a great fucking point. You know?
The right ones do flock to Joe.
They
This
do.
is true.
They just, you know. Massfan84, $1.99. Spot of the Year, either Cage V Trigger or Forbidden Door Crossface. What is the spot of the year?
The Cage V
Jackson's
Trigger
spooning
is
super kick, baby.
incredible.
That was great. I feel like there's something else that we're like just maybe not thinking.
Well,
the V trigger was crazy. And bro, he
Yeah.
almost tore his knee and off.
Let us know in a live chat if we're
Well,
like
you know,
missing something.
has anyone brought up Uncle Howdy like plunging to his death at Raw?
Oh yeah. That's
I will be mentioning Uncle Howdy later in this pod.
Bet you will. Bet you will.
Definitely have some thoughts.
That's my
definitely will be
mentioning
mentioning Uncle Howdy. Bass fan, thank you, Rob. Take the next super chat.
Chi-Town Spurs, $5. MGF overall has had a great year, but too many of those "lol, I'm going to the Fed" promos. Exactly. Omega's consistency is unprecedented.
That's another thing. Even if MJF was wrestling as consistently, I would like just him coming out for 15 minutes and doing absolutely nothing for him, his opponent, for the fans, bro. It's just like, how am I gonna name you Wrestler of the Year? It's like, bro, a lot of your 15-minute segments just fucking suck. And you're not talking about anything either. So it's just like, I can't, bro. It takes you down another notch.
Go ahead, Rob.
Brainbuster, $1.99. Just got reminded that Keno exists. Keno, Wrestler of the Year.
I'll tell
Shout
you
out to Big Jake Lee, but shout out to Keno, but Jake Lee's driven me away from the territory, so I am not watching Noah right now. Shout out to Big Jake Lee.
I'm hanging on for dear life. I'm a fan of Keno. You know, Kongo has disbanded this year, which is a bit disappointing. Keno opened the year with an amazing GHC Championship match against Kaito Kiyomiya.
That match was fire.
That match preceded Shinsuke Nakamura versus Keiji Muto on the same show I believe it was the Budokan.
That match wasn't so much fire, but vibes.
Keno is awesome. He's a great wrestler. Shout out to him. King of the North, $2 Canadian. Hiromu Takahashi, top 5 wrestler of the year, in my opinion.
I agree.
He's having a resurgent year. This is the best year he's had since 2018 prior to the neck break. What do you guys think about Takahashi this year?
One of the best in the world. I hope he moves up to heavyweight soon.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoyed his matches with Leo Rush.
Yeah.
His matches.
The first Leo match is one of the best matches of the year.
The Master Wato match, bro. Fucking star-making performance. Oh, no, the T-Tom match was a star-making performance. But the Master Wato match, for him to, you know, we won't get into Master Wato later in the show.
Are we?
Yeah, we are. We are going to get into Master Wato later in the show. But shout out Big Takahashi.
Bearded Baron, 2 pounds. Shingo Wrestler of the Year contender, Dragon Art of Greatness. I do not think Shingo Takagi is the Wrestler of the Year. I do think Shingo Takagi is one of the best wrestlers in the world existing. And the Aaron Henare match is fucking incredible.
I will say, I don't know what Henare ate that morning, but he was not dragged to greatness. He was He was in
Yeah,
there
bro.
battling with Shingo, bro. Like he was holding up his
banging.
end of the. Yeah, bro. He was holding up his end of the bargain. He
Matt,
hasn't
It's
Matt
brought
like
that
on
up
two,
yet,
84.
but
Matt Fan 84 189. Cinema's Bully Ray pouring acid down PCO's throat. Did this happen? Can Rob can you confirm this?
yes, this did happen actually.
this is
Wow.
Hey,
Joe, I'm
Bully
telling you,
Ray.
he's on the money. Rob watches everything. Like he's afraid.
I
Hey,
respect
bro, people
man.
need to stop falling for Billy Ray's shtick. He says one thing on radio and does something completely different on television. It's almost like he doesn't believe anything he's saying, guys. It's almost like he just wants to make people mad for attention, guys. It's almost like he sees how successful trolling wrestling fans has made Jim Cornette, guys, and he wants to emulate that, guys.
Berkey
Like all this
199.
ECW discourse today did not have to happen.
It didn't have
Don't
to
take
happen.
Bully Ray seriously.
Yeah, you didn't. You guys didn't have to come at my favorite company just because Bully Ray is being silly. Berkey 199. What's your favorite moment of the year so far? I gotta say it might be Big Coaster winning the Royal Rumble. You know, Cody Rhodes in that ring with Gunther, 8 minutes going Sting Vader, big drama. Cody winning. Probably my happiest day as a fan this year. I can't lie.
Very,
What about you,
very
Joe?
funny. Very
For
funny.
me is I'm trying to think if there's any other contenders because I had an immediate answer to this when I see it pop up in the chat.
I think I know your answer. Go ahead.
When time stood still, to quote Kevin Kelly, and one of the most significant rivalries of honestly a wrestling generation was reunited in the Collision premiere. Joe and Punk head to head. I think that was electric. When Punk cornered Joe and threw those chops, that was like the most kind of audible reaction I've been at any wrestling this year, honestly. So for me, that's my favorite moment for sure.
Joe regaining his magic has been tremendous. And also special shout out to Keiji Muto and Masahiro Chono fucking around at the end of the Muto retirement show. Ayo, what's your moment of the year?
I have a lot. Kaito kicking Okada in the head and then proceeding to get his ass whooped was fucking amazing.
That's the angle of the year.
That was like felt like I just smoked some meth watching that, bro. Like I was pumped up, bro. I started sweating and shit. That shit was fire. What else? The Elite reuniting. That was also a huge moment. What else? Kenny Omega coming out to Devil's Sky at a packed out fucking Tokyo Dome in 2023, man. It's just
what a year New Japan is having, right? Like so many cool fucking things, you know.
It's shit that just brings a tear to your eye, bro.
It's beautiful. It's oh my god, Mercedes Moné debuted this year in Japan, in the Tokyo Dome.
Mercedes' debut was amazing as well.
Oh man, you know, looking good, doing her thing.
Oh my god,
Rob, what's
the only thing that the trolls got to me a little bit on the Mercedes shit, bro. So that took a little shine off of it for me.
Monty, Sami Zayn. You know what? Monty mentioned Sami Zayn turning on the Tribal Chief. There's a couple bloodline angles this year that I like. And I know like a lot of hardcore fans think like all of them are amazing. There's some angles in this story that are legitimately amazing. That Rumble moment where he hits Roman with the chair, that's fantastic.
Amazing angle. Yeah.
Oh,
the big
anyone think the Sami Zayn turn on Roman fell a little bit flat?
No.
Hey, listen.
Or is it just me?
They had 50,000 people chanting "Fuck you, Roman." You know,
great angle.
Amazing angle. What's up, Rob? Talk to me. What's the moment?
There were kids in that stadium, bro. You know, that's cool.
Yes. Listen, you know, you got your Rumble wins, you got your Royal, you know, your Bloodline stuff. But my favorite moment of the year, the biggest Bloodline event of the year,
boy.
April 2nd, 2023.
Fuck.
When everything felt right, when everything felt like everything was about, he was going to get his happy fairy tale ending. And then my big bro, the legend, the young king, Solo Sikoa, shut all that shit down.
This piece of shit. You know what I gotta say? That moment might be like the low point of my entire fandom.
It wasn't because of WWE. It wasn't because of WWE. It's because of Ibu's reaction to it after the fact.
I went off the grid and then AO called my phone 10 times straight. Thank you, Berkey, for the super chat.
Why didn't you pick up?
Because fuck you. Princess Diana, $5. Joe, my dear, don't listen to these Tory nonsense. You are the people's voice. Vote Labour.
That was a step in the right direction. Let's
I
move
will
forward.
say, Roman winning at Mania was probably a top 5 night in my wrestling fandom. I've never seen something so funny happen.
It must be a wild result. Like if you didn't care who won. Yuzoro Hart, $5. Got to go with Tiger Driver 91 for spot of the year. Never thought I'd see in a match in 2023. Discourse for days because it was that big a deal. That was fucking crazy.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy. Kenny Omega's a madman. Kirby Freeman, $2. The real rest of the year is Momo Kogo. Momo Kogo, man, getting herself some bookings now in these New Japan Strong shows, and I've liked what I've seen from her on those shows for sure. 6-star, $9.99. Starting on 5-star Grand Prix and the New Japan G1 Climax are about to start. The second half of the year is so damn exciting. As per usual, shout out to the Russell Pierce gang. Much love to y'all. I'll tell you what, Joe, I told this to AO the other day. I think promotion of the year is going to be decided by the end of September. I think that's when a couple big wigs at the top of the conference right now are gonna, have their big bombs, in August and September coming out of there. And I think after that is when we'll have a decent feeling for who it's gonna be.
Yeah, I would say to that point, and we've kind of foreshadowed it, right? We'll get into more detail, but we're all very high on New Japan's year, right? But I will say, I'd feel a lot more confident about kind of the the rest of the year if the G1 lineup was a little tighter. I'm looking at these. I'm looking at these schedules, and I'm like, man, it's been such a great year for that promotion, but there's a lot of spare parts.
Guys like that,
It's like we're begging for guys like Despy and Hiromu to be in the G1 finally, and they're like, y'all like Bad Luck Fale?
No,
bro. Remember how many people?
Y'all want Tonga Lower to make his return to professional wrestling?
We know.
Y'all like allegations, Chase Owens? All that shit's in the G1, baby.
Bro, remember all last year we were asking for we got Archer, we were asking for Eddie, we were asking for different guys like that, and then they go, Chase Owens, Tamatonga. I was like, bro, Jesus.
Yeah, Joe, as a result of these blocks, Eddie's going to have some nights where, he kind of stinks it up, I can't lie. And then he's going to have some nights where it's everybody watches right now because he just wrestled Shingo Takagi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think he'll be okay just because his routine is so, foolproof, Yeah,
I feel like it's hard to think up a match. If Eddie just goes in there and gets his offense in, I feel like you have to be a complete fucking shitter for that to be an actively bad wrestling match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His ceiling is not as high as some of the guys we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah,
but his floor is
right
really
there
high.
with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did they announce the blocks yet? Or?
Yeah, every block is announced. The Three Musketeers are all in one block with Sonata, and I believe Kaito Kiyomiya is in the same block. Okada's in a separate one, and so they'd have to come out of their blocks to face each other. And Eddie Kingston's in the same block as Tomohiro Ishii and Shingo Takagi. Those are your big highlights. Yeah. And Gabriel Kidd is in the G1 this year, so. Those are kind of your big things.
Kid's gonna have a huge star-making G1, bro.
Very excited to see what he does. I kind of want him to go fucking insane. Thanks, 6-star, for the super chat.
Thank you, 6.
Trust the process, 34, $4.99. Ibu's cooking. Damn right. Kenny's tag matches should be graded on a curve for Wrestle of the Year talk. Only 6 singles. Also, MJF had a bigger responsibility carrying weekly.
Bro, how many singles do you think MJF has
Everyone's on the screen. Listen,
only 6 singles. How many other singles do you think MJF has had?
Hey, all I know is when MJF isn't wrestling, he's in that ring. When Kenny's not wrestling,
and it's actively bad television. When he's not wrestling, he's in that ring.
When Kenny's not in that ring, pre-tape city, man. That's all I'm saying.
Carrying weekly TV. How many?
When Kenny, hold on, Rob. When Kenny ain't in the ring, he does. He tells Brandon to shoot him while he's taking jump shots. You know what I'm saying? And he starts taking them jump.
Y'all see he's carrying TV. How many literal MJF led episodes have done over 900,000? How many?
Y'all like ratings?
Come on, bro.
Trust the process. TV. Thank you for the super chat. Mashman 84, $1.99. I'm calling it King winning the AEW title moment of the year. Yes,
I agree.
I'm sorry to say that I'm starting to believe, and that's a dangerous thing to do.
It is dangerous,
I really think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Hold on. I
What's
just
up?
went and checked because he's like, you said Evil's spitting on this MJF talk. Kenny only had 6 singles matches all year.
Mm-hmm.
MJF has only had 6 singles matches all year, and one of them was versus Ethan Page.
Thank you.
That Ethan Page match is a classic.
Other ones against Tanahashi, bro. Like, what are we talking about?
Hey, man.
Carrying,
We're gonna go to a couple lighter awards for the next little stretch here. Who do you guys think is the best announcer this year? Do you have an answer for this? Because I kind of don't so far.
Look, man, I know Joe's British. Evil likes to pretend like he's British, but I have to give it to Excalibur. I like his style of announcing. I think he goes out there.
Oh my god!
He just gives it all he got every week, man. And if we're doing lead, I know there was like discourse on this all week, but if we're just doing somebody who sits at a booth and has a microphone and is expected to call something on the show, I give it to Taz, bro. I'd give it to Taz almost every year. Taz is fucking.
That's what I wrote down.
Taz is the voice of my wrestling childhood with Ruthless Aggression, SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite wrestling eras of all time. No matter what I go back and end up watching or see in the future, I always go back. Ruthless Aggression, SmackDown has something in mind.
Yo, the chat is popping. There's a lot of
the chat. I didn't know this many people watch NXT.
Hey, listen,
bro.
Booker. Listen. So some shit could be horribly bad on NXT. All you need is a sucky ducky quack quack. It is 10 times better.
Because I'd imagine you're not an avid watcher of NXT. The funny thing about Booker is he does not make any attempts to like put the show over. Like he is what people accuse Jim Ross of, which is like something bad will happen. He'll be like, this match ain't any good. Like he'll just say something like that. You're like, wow. Like,
yo, it could be like super pushing somebody. He'd be like, I don't know, man. This guy, he's got to show me something.
Literally.
He kind of sucks.
Booker, what are you seeing here in Idris Enofe? Not a lot. It's like, damn. Like, God damn. It's amazing. Joe, who's your best announcer, sir?
I don't love the current talent pool, to be honest, but
I don't either.
I would say while I think this guy still has room for improvement and will level up when he's put on one of the TV shows eventually, I think it's Ian Riccaboni. I think he's the guy who comes most prepared and brings the most enthusiasm to, let's be honest, a TV show that he could quite understandably not be particularly enthusiastic about. And I admire that, and I think he has a great dynamic with Caprice. I've said this before, and we talk about him worldwide a lot. I think Michael Cole is very, very good at his job. His current partner on SmackDown is such that I will not be calling the announcer of the year because that team is excruciating for me just because of the color. I love Ian and Caprice, and Ian steers the ship admirably. So I'll take Ian Riccaboni.
I second your opinion, Rob. Who's your announcer of the year?
I'm gonna go with Taz. Taz, bro. Taz used to make those awful dark moments a lot better. Just talking shit with Excalibur, his bits on Dynamite, but when he can get serious, he's a former world champ. He can really explain and break down moves because he's done all of them before. So I think Taz is my top pick.
Yeah, to add on to what I said, Taz is a 5-tool player, bro. He can make people laugh. He can break down a move. He has the credibility because he has a well-documented in-ring career. Like, it's just Taz is him, bro. Taz is him with the mic in his hand.
You'll never see me slander Taz. He's actually one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I don't talk about it that much. Taz is genuinely one of my favorite wrestlers ever. So, off mostly vibes and promos. But shout out to Taz. He's a very good commentator. I don't love the team he's a part of that's surrounding him.
It's a great team,
but I do enjoy Taz. Guys,
respect Tony and Taz banter.
Who is the best booker of the year?
It's Ghetto.
Joe Holbert.
Easily.
Okay,
I'm assuming your answer to Shawn Michaels, but explain us why. Take us through this.
So, I'm not even going to respond to that. So, assuming, I want to make this very clear before we go into best TV show, best promotion. I watch AEW more closely than any other promotion, mostly because we review it a lot here, right? Thursday, I have to watch Dynamite front to back, and I'm happy to do that, absolutely. So, I may miss flaws of other promotions as a result of not seeing them as closely. With that being said, it feels
that's a very fair thing to note. That's a very
because we're going to do promotion of the year, and I've watched every TV match of AEW. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's easy to see the issues. But even still, it feels like this is Ghetto's award to me, because I think he's done an admirable job of like refreshing things, giving things a kind of new start in some ways, but still maintaining the core ingredients that made us fall in love with the promotion whenever we all did, right? There was such an incredible kind of era there that we all fell in love with the promotion. So I think it's Ghetto. But again, there are issues with his booking, I'm sure, that I'm not as kind of understanding of because I don't watch as closely. But I've got Ghetto.
I'll say this, Joe. First of all, CM Punk has been shouted out by Monty in the chat. You know what? Punk is one of the better bookers in wrestling.
Oh, fuck, he's not,
right
bro. His
now.
own tournament.
That motherfucker booked Wardlow versus
and
Luchasaurus.
he's booking this Luchasaurus nonsense. Like, what are we talking about?
Not Christian put that together, but I digress.
Yo, don't
CM Punk didn't sign off on it.
You know,
Okay. That's what I thought.
Booker, don't call no booker that gives me Scorpio Sky on TV a booker.
Yeah, Scorpio Sky versus Action Andretti, bro. What are we talking about?
Punk is a Triple H type of booker.
This Andrade feud stinks too, by the way. The only reason why people aren't on this Andrade feud's ass is because all the wrestlers involved are good to fantastic. That's the only reason. If they weren't real wrestlers in this feud, bro, people would be eating this Andrade feud alive. It's terrible, bro. What was Malachi Black talking about last night? What was that?
Two things carrying Collision right now. ROH nostalgia with Punk and BC Gold. That's the two things. It is powerful nostalgia,
Joe. I'll tell you that. This show at its best is giving me what I was looking for with the Ring of Honor Weekly show. And with Punk, I'll tell you this. He's a Triple H type of booker in the sense that, like, I look at his broad strokes and look, yeah, if we get in the weeds, there's some things that there's some things I'm not trying to see.
I can't believe we're really doing this.
My thing, even if you're not a Fed bad guy, right? Bro, even if you're not a Fed bad guy, I don't see how you could possibly give it to Triple H. What is he doing that's so great? WWE's business is fantastic, but I feel like everything Triple H does is common sense. The bloodline stuff is Roman and Heyman in the lab cooking. Triple H ain't doing that. So like, what are we patting Triple H on the back for? Even if you're not a Fed bad guy.
I mean, I didn't bring him up as a candidate. I'm
just saying generally for like everybody else. I'd be like, oh no, Triple H deserves this.
Triple H is steady. Joe Holbert has said a lot last year. He's not very dynamic, but he's steady, you know? And you know what? Steady was a massive contrast to what Vince McMahon was doing with the product, because Vince McMahon was putting on some of the most batshit insane, incomprehensible television you've ever seen. And so a guy kind of going like, all right, let's cut some of these things that are really dumb and just do things that make sense. And it did make a big difference. You know, some people like steady. That's why I like Collision. It's steady, you know? And so, Triple H, what I'll say about him is he's steady. Yeah. The promotions is trending upwards, and to your point, Ao, the biggest thing on the show is in fact put together by Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman themselves. I wonder how many people are aware of that when they talk about Hunter and it's his creative. But
I remember early on they were like, "Oh, Roman Reigns has creative freedom. Oh, Paul's helping him out." So like they were saying that early on with the Bloodline stuff, but they've kind of like stopped now that Triple H is involved, because they're just like, "Oh, we don't have to justify to ourselves why we like this anymore."
Right.
Uncle Papa H is cooking.
I want to give a shout out to Keiji Muto, who's just one of the more fun wrestling bookers I've ever seen in my life, because he literally his booking philosophy is he's very he just likes the pageantry of American wrestling in general, and he's very quirky about that. That's why his All Japan was the way it was in the 2000s, and his retirement tour was him just doing shit for vibes, and it was really fun and really creative and really just dynamic. So shout out to Keiji Muto, but ultimately I agree with Joe Holbert. The Booker of the Year is Gato. There's certain things I watch on wrestling TV, Joe, that like I'm like, this is the way it is because of the talent involved, right? But then there's certain things I see, I'm like, this is booking, right? And when I see the positioning of younger talents that have been elevated, and I see how they've been positioned and how they're being set up to succeed over the next couple of years, it's definitely Gato. And I'll get into this more when you talk about promotion of the year, but he's somebody with vision, in my opinion. He's somebody who knows how to reshuffle the deck. He knows when to do that, when to reload, when to go all in on somebody. And look, I don't like every person that he cashes his chips in on, but the fact that he's so ambitious is very admirable personally, because there's a lot of bookers who play everything safe. And the fact that he's just kind of a gunslinger is kind of beast. Joe, so that's my pick. Rob, who's your Booker of the Year?
Book of the Year is Gato.
Mm-hmm.
But like the feeling that we had because of the clap crowds and a whole bunch of other shit with New Japan. New Japan just felt like it was on a down like it felt like it was going down, and it just January 4th, 2023, man. Like it just felt like it was 5-6 years ago again. It felt like everything. It felt like New Japan was back, and they are back. Like
Mm-hmm.
with Kenny versus Osprey, how big that was, and then you had the trios match. I think it was Lij versus Umino. It was Lij versus Umino, Tanahashi, and Muto. That and Muto's last NJPW match. Like everything we've seen from New Japan over the past year, besides Sonata winning the belt, has just been professional wrestling across the board. So that's why I think Gato's the Booker of the Year.
Ayo.
It is Gato.
Clean sweep. This is our first unanimous.
It's Gato, bro. Everybody wants to talk about in professional wrestling making stars. Look what Gato's done this year. Look what he's done with Suji. Look what he continues to do with Shooter. Look what he's done with Narita. Look what he's done with the Bullet Club. Look at, bro, Gabe Kidd. They have people caring about Gabe Kidd. They have people caring about Clark Connors. They have people caring about a bloke named Drilla Maloney.
But Joe, when he
won gold and people were going crazy.
Joe,
bro.
Your reaction to his new name on the preview show had me fucking rolling. You were just like, I'm just gonna take
Drilla Maloney, baby.
I'm still adjusting, folks. Give me a couple of years.
Like Clark Connors could always wrestle, but now he's looking like a guy. Like you want to talk about making stars, bro. And then he ascends. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but Sonata is the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. And people are loving it, bro. New Japan's doing great business with him holding the big belt. And then you have Okada doing shit off to the side where he's not overshadowing Sonata, but he's still Kazuchika Okada, and he's doing great stories in the never open weight 6-man division. He's doing great stories with the Kid Killer Okada gimmick, with the fuck them kids gimmick.
They ended. Like I said about reshuffling the deck, he Suzuki Gun parted ways, and he put Suzuki in a trio with Despy and Ren Narita, and they're doing pretty good stuff too.
Doing great, bro.
Just Five Guys has brought in the best out of Yoshinobu Kanemaru that we've seen in years.
Bro, they had me looking at Kanemaru like, yo, was I?
Yeah, like Yoshinobu Kanemaru, like what
the fuck? Because sometimes I get in the mode where it's just like I say fuck that wrestler, and it's gonna take a lot for me to be like, you know what? This is actually a good match. Like last night, I was watching the Bang Bang Gang versus FTR. And I was like 10 minutes in, I was like, fuck these niggas, bro. Shout out to Jay White. Shout out to Rock Hard. But this match kind of stinks. And then they started really turning it up, right? And then I was like, you know what? I can give this a cute little 3 1/4. You feel me? But I say I'm not giving it a 3 1/4. I actually really like that match. I really like that match. But I say all that to say this. It's just like, yo, like, wait, what the fuck we talking? We talking about Kanemaru.
Yeah.
And
the way Gato's reshuffling of the roster has brought in the best out of a lot of guys that were seemingly dead in the water. Another group is fucking Goto and Yoshihashi, Bishamon, who are having another nice year. And they're doing a thing. So shout out to Gato for sure. Do you have any other thoughts on Gato, Ayo?
Nah, bro. It's just New Japan is doing gangbusters business. And if you want to talk about some people want to give all the credit for what's going on in New Japan Strong, like over in the States, to Rocky Romero. And deservedly so. Rocky's busting his ass to make all that shit happen. But Gato's still in the weeds there and shit. So it's just like, and then they did bring in Mercedes Moné. They have booked her pretty well for what they've been able to. It's just not. You're just not gonna be able to get Mercedes every week, or get Mercedes on Road 2 shows, or get Mercedes to just show up to a house show, a house Stardom show, or whatever. But whenever they've done a good job of making her feel like a superstar over there, presenting her like a superstar, and then also like elevating their company. I remember Wrestle Kingdom, the stands were like, this is what we were missing. I remember there was a whole section of Twitter just slandering Ric Flair. They was like, "Yo, these old ass niggas are going crazy. Why couldn't Ric Flair's ass do this?" Like he was looking like shit. But yeah,
wrestling
man,
fans
it's just
discovering
like,
that you could be good at like 60. You know.
yeah, there's a world where everybody finds out that Mercedes is debuting at Wrestle Kingdom, and it's a terrible fucking show. But Big Gato did put his foot down. He didn't let that fucking happen, bro. He's promoter of the year. He's booker of the year.
Shout out to Gato. Listen, man, Joe. Sometimes I stare across these lines and I find myself in a battle. And when you're in the heat of battle, sometimes you don't need a friend, you don't need a partner, you need a brother. And in pro wrestling, the closest thing to a brother is your tag team partner.
Oh, brother.
Step in those ropes, 2-on-2. It's just you versus them. And for a lot of members of our community and a lot of people in Wrestle Purist, this is the coolest and most just expansive and fun form of professional wrestling, tag team wrestling. You're a big appreciator of tag team wrestling. Charlie is a big appreciator of tag team wrestling. It's been a great year for this application of the medium, I think. It's been a bit of a transcendent year in terms of what it's been allowed to achieve in the United States. Main eventing a WrestleMania, amongst other things. Who do you think is the tag team of the year, Joe?
This one's really interesting because I think
right.
the consensus through like a quarter was through to probably like April, I guess it was, right? Was Aussie Open were kind of out to a quick lead.
Yes.
And obviously, unfortunately, Mark Davis got hurt, and hopefully we'll be back for Wembley because FTR versus Aussie Open 2 at Wembley makes an awful lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
However, with that being said, that opens up the door for me to venture elsewhere, personally.
Yes.
And I think, to the point I made earlier about kind of sometimes the story being just as important, I'm taking, to the surprise of absolutely no one watching this program, Jimmy and Jay, the Usos.
Let's go.
Throw the one up, Rob.
The reason I'm doing that is I do think they have the match quality to back that up. I think the WrestleMania match is incredible. Obviously, I'm biased towards the London match. I was there. I think people forget they had some really nice TV matches in the build up to WrestleMania. I remember the match with Braun and Ricochet. I remember being a hoot. They had one with Drew and Sheamus. They had a couple there. So I think they have had a really, really great year. And more than anything else, their kind of transformation into a true main event act, I think, has been one of the best stories of the year. Again, obviously, I'm biased. I did a whole video about this, so no one should be surprised. But I do think, probably for the first time, I would say honestly, for the first time in their careers, I do think they have a real case for wrestling-wide being the tag team of the year thus far.
Joe, you're forgetting. I'm looking at this cage match. They had that really good Raw match with Gable and Otis.
The Ray Escobar match we got recently, which I love.
That was excellent.
They've had a really, really good year. Yeah.
To their credit, they've become a main event act on television, and they've become TV stars. They've become an act that can be relied upon to open and close Raws and SmackDowns. And there's many Raws and SmackDowns this year that have performed great in the ratings without Roman Reigns because they were used as surrogate members of the bloodline that became straight up headliners. So I do think they're having a great year. I think they've really ascended to a certain extent for sure. So yeah, man, shout out to the Usos. Rob, who's your tag team of the year?
I was gonna sit here and cap. Just be like Bishamon or Aussie Open. But man, nigga, fuck that. It's the Usos, bro. Let's talk about it.
Go ahead, talk to me.
Come on, man.
Talk to me,
Come on, man. Who is the only man to pin Big Rome in 3 years, as Monty said in the chat earlier? The only man to pin Big Rome in 3 years. The TV matches, like Joe just mentioned. The TV matches against the Brawling Brutes. The TV matches against, bro, they took Top Dollar and Ashanti the Adonis, who are pure shitters, and made them niggas look like talented individuals that could be jobbers on an NWA TV show. I'm telling y'all, AO is just hate. He's a hater. But listen,
look, man. Yeah, go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, cook.
Tag team of the year, and we still got more tag matches to come. There's no other tag team in this business besides the Young Bucks. They got the crowd singing their song right now. The Acclaim don't count.
I'll tell you what, the closing scenes of Money in the Bank do feel the closing scenes of Money in the Bank do kind of feel remarkable. You know what I mean? It's like
Uh,
they got a sold out O2 Arena singing their theme song. They pinned the biggest star in the industry. A tag team match main event at a WWE show. So you know what, man? I will shout them out. But while I am shouting them out, they are not my tag team of the year. I have to inform you guys. It's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Because across from them were people that were close enough to be brothers, KO and Sammy. And for me, when I look at their story and I look at what they've accomplished on television when it comes to the angles and the bonds and the sentimentality there from dating back to PWG and Ring of Honor, I just love the duo. I'm on record saying that like they're frenemies that I never get tired of seeing together, to be honest, because they just have this eternal chemistry, and I think they bring the best out of each other. Sami Zayn is not what he was physically as a performer that he was like when he was younger, but I think he's just a smart worker and just perpetually likable. Sami Zayn is like the baby face of the year in WWE in terms of the just popularity that he garnered from fans. I mean, going into Elimination Chamber, people wanted him to beat Roman Reigns. And people thought when it was shifted to a tag match at Mania that it'd be a consolation prize. But I think it's the strength of the story that they crafted with that whole, four-way thing that it didn't feel that way when we got to the match. So I thought that main event was amazing. The best tag match, for my money, WWE has ever had on the main roster. I will straight up say that. And then following that, it's just been a string of really good TV matches. Their May and June has consisted of just tags with Imperium. And they're all really fucking good.
No. What happened? What happened with Pretty Deadly last week?
They did what they could with Pretty Deadly. There was some heat in the building. You know what I mean? There was some heat in the building. They did what they could. KO fucked his ankle up, and he got through the match because he's a real wrestler. I'm a big fan of KO and Sami. I love their tag routine also, by the way, where Sami Zayn at the stage of the game, he's good at just selling. He does the big moves at the end, but he kind of just sells and gets his ass kicked like a rag doll. And he tags in Kevin Owens, who I think is as dynamic as he's ever been. Honestly, he's an absolute spark plug. He could have been in AEW right now with the way he wrestles, and he just does all his crazy shit and stuff like that. And I just enjoy their tag formula. I'm a big fan of KO and Sami. They're my tag team of the year. Like Joe said, Aussie Open did have the early lead. Their match against Bishamon is the best Japanese tag match of the year from me personally at Sakura Genesis. I thought that match was amazing. But unfortunately, the Mark Davis injury did kind of hurt things with them. But shout out to Aussie Open, and I will say it's very recent, and we do have 6 months left. We'll see. FTR have finally.
Fuck no.
Wait, no.
They finally had their first good tag team match of the year.
No, I'm about to say
6 months into the year. If you want to throw in all the other multi-man shit in for tag team contender of the year, then the Young Bucks are right there too. Even I'm not doing that. So don't bring up FTR, bro. They had one good tag match of the year. Don't do it.
Wait. You don't even let me finish my sentence. I was just gonna say they have finally decided to wake up and turn their remotes on. We will see how the rest of the year plays out for them.
No. Because what about that them versus the Guns match? How did that match go?
It was okay. They did what they could.
You fucking buried it. I'm not going to let you see it.
I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan.
How did the them versus the Acclaim match go?
Listen, Rob. They are having a down year for their standards, especially compared to 2023. They are not, by no means are they contenders for this award. I'm just bringing them up to say.
So I bring them up. I'm bringing them up anyway. I'm going to my tag team of the year.
Who's your tag team of the year, AO?
You know what you're doing.
My tag team of the year is still Aussie Open. You feel me? Because apparently I'm the only person here who actually likes wrestling, doesn't care about fucking cinema. Or RH or besties for resties.
Halo said they're good wrestlers.
Besties for resties. I don't care about no fucking Steenerico breakup and makeup shit anymore. When Kevin Owens turns heel on actually, you know what? They're probably gonna make Sami Zayn turn heel this time. I don't know. Someone's gonna turn heel, and you guys are gonna pretend to be surprised. Y'all gonna be talking about the cinema. Get that shit out of my fucking face, bro. If I want to care about Steenerico lore, I'd watch 2014 ROH, my nigga. It's 2023. I like in-ring wrestling, and nobody's had a better in-ring year than Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher when it comes to tag team wrestling. They got the Bishamon match. They got the Chaos match with Leo Rush and Ishii. What else?
Go ahead.
They had the ROH ladder match. They have the TMDK match. What are we talking about here?
Okay. Listen, I think they're a really good team. I'm excited to see what they do in AEW. I want to see them wrestle FTR at Wembley, actually. So, here's to Mark Davis recovering and getting them back on track for sure.
Bro, if Mark Davis is back before, if Mark Davis is back for Wembley and they tear the house down, we're back, baby. We're back on.
Yeah.
We're back on track. We're back on track. Especially since Jimmy Uso is out, and you know what happens when Jimmy got free time.
Oh, that's spiteful.
So
before we get to the next few awards, I do want to remind you guys that we are taking super chats. I'm going to go through a couple of the ones that piled up since in this discussion. It's very spirited and objective and unbiased discussion here with everybody. So we'll kind of load those up, Monty. Hopefully, please. Thank you.
I got it. Ben Dixon, $5. Yep. Can you imagine Punk's reaction to one of his biggest fans calling him a Triple H style booker? I would actually say, slander aside, agendas aside, I would actually say that is what Punk is doing. They're not doing any they're not trying to do any crazy angles. They're not trying to do any twists and turns that make people shocked or whatever. He's just like, hey, you go out there, have a good wrestling match, and that's what this show's gonna be about. Well, at least attempt to have a good wrestling match. It doesn't always work out, especially on Collision.
Just as Monty says, proper TV, man. Just proper TV.
It's not proper TV. I gotta ask, why is Collision getting killed on a cage match every week? Are the cage match perverts supposed to be the ones that like Collision?
No, absolutely not.
No.
We never claim them.
I was gonna say, Joe, answer this. Joe, the answer to this question, AO, is the same reason why Joe said the rating was bad last week, which is that the show appeals to sickos, and when you appeal to sickos like me and Joe, sometimes it's dangerous waters for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We like real music, but the world doesn't like real music sometimes, and that's just kind of.
I just want to reiterate that I'm happy to go down with the ship on this one. I've no problem with it, but please, AO, as friends, don't put the cage match, guys. It's not my fault. They can
look. They hate flips. So I assumed they liked this little,
Cage matches and hate flips. Get out of here.
I understand. I just, I don't think any of us should claim cage match at this point. We should kind of just leave it.
Sure. Ben, thank you so much for the super chat, sir.
Yes.
All right. Shot-Town Spurs, $2 super chat. Steady is just a nice way of saying boring. I agree, actually.
You know what? Sometimes Triple H's programming certainly is boring.
No, I'm talking about Chicago Phil here.
But the thing is, boring but sensible and leading to big moments and big shows where the shows at least deliver in what they've been building to is a better model for a company than chaos and disorder and sloppiness when it comes to the handling of your key talents and things like that. But yes, sometimes steady is boring. When you're driving on a 40-mile drive and there's nothing but signs and you're just going straight, you get bored on the road sometimes. It happens. Thank you, Chi-Town. Pylons, $5. Go ahead. Booker of the Year is Tetsuya Koda, unless Mio Watanabe loses the Tokyo Princess Cup again. Then he's the worst Booker of the Year. I'm going to pretend that I knew what you were talking about here. No, Tetsuya Koda. Does anyone know who that is? He booked some. I'm blanking right now, but I read about it months ago. No.
Come on.
All right, thanks, Pylons. Appreciate you.
Oh, I thought you were gonna.
No,
I thought you were gonna try to get who that was.
I mean, Miyu Risk was for Tokyo Joshi Pro.
Yeah.
So
I'm aware of this. Yes.
Yes.
Bam. 255-019, $5. Does anyone know why TK doesn't put effort in the women's division and now the tag division? Even if the Collision tag was great, they have the talent.
I'll let you know why. TK just, he's a fan of. He books for what he was a fan of when he was a kid. He didn't give a fuck about women's wrestling. He doesn't really care right now. Someone said that everything in the women's division just seems so obligatory at this point. He's like, well, we have to have something, and that's what it is. That's what it fucking is. Every week, it's that shut the outcasts out there. Let him beat down someone. Let Babyface come and run out and do something. There's no inspired story choices. There's no really direction in the storytelling. There's nothing really going on that front, bro. And the tag division, FTR is holding up the division, man. Forever the racists. They're just holding up the division.
I think that
They're supposed to. All champions are supposed to work both shows. FTR has somehow decided that they're banned from Dynamite for some reason, for a situation that had nothing to do with, or therefore they've decided they're banned from Dynamite, so they're not going to defend their tag belts. They're going to do multi-mans with their daddy instead of actually defending their tag belts. You feel me? Thank God, Switchblade and Juice, they found some magic there, so now they can finally have a tag team match. All right.
Could you man, AO, that Nick or Matt got in Tony's ear like, nah, we gotta work with Jay, brother. Them niggas can't just be on Saturdays only. What we doing there?
This is not what's gonna fucking happen. They love Jay, and Jay loves them, bro. He's not gonna just be on Saturdays to 300,000 people. What the fuck are we talking about?
It is funny that like Tony's like the brand split is soft, and like Malachi and Dax, who two like title holders, like decided to self-impose. Like, no, we're just Saturdays, brother.
Like, what are we doing here, bro? And they're not even defending the belts on Saturdays, so it's just
take this next
one. They got something that should be a good one next week. Maybe let's see after that. Hopefully, Bull Club goes over. I don't think they will, but hopefully they do. And let's see where the story goes from there. Let's see if they start wrestling, or they just go back to multi-mans with their daddy.
Go ahead, Rob. Rob, we can't hear you. I think you're muted.
MA, $8 Australian, half the way through the year. Who's someone you want to like, but for whatever reason you just can't? That's a good question.
That's a good question, and it's not jumping out. You know what? I tried to give Jake Lee a chance this year. I really did. I
never tried to give Jake Lee a chance.
I tried to give him a chance. I'm not a piece of shit, and didn't work for me. I tried to give Pretty Deadly a chance. I really hate them.
Oh, I've got a good one.
What's up?
This guy, he seems pretty cool as like a human being, but I can't do the Bronson Reed thing. He seems like a cool dude.
Come on. Nobody can.
I can't do it. You know, I've tried. Even when I've had long conversations about like, trying to like.
I tried that too, Joe, but just not in 2023. I tried that when he was in Impact and then later New Japan. I was like, let me see what this guy got, because I did catch some of his NXT matches, and I was like, yo, this. You know, he's a big dude. I didn't realize how short he was because he was only working with like NXT guys and shit. But I was like, yo, he's a big dude. He can somewhat move. You feel me? And then it's just he got to Impact and he went to New Japan. It was stinky, bro.
Joe, I knew it was cooked when he's positioned to beat the shit out of Okada as the big man, and like even those matches weren't like all that great to me. Like people were like really into those, and like I didn't think they were great. I thought they were like borderline good, and I was like, okay, if this guy couldn't have like great matches with Okada and main events of shows, I'm supposed to expect that on like a 3-hour Raw he's gonna like shine and like look really great, and like to this point he's been pretty pedestrian, and so I totally see where you're coming from. Rob, who's not connecting with you?
Hey man, I tried to like QTV so much, man, but that
it's so bad.
That fucking rampage segment from I think it was before Forbidden Door. Brother,
that was some of the worst. That was some of the worst television wrestling.
That's worse than NXT.
Well, I don't watch WWE television. I watch the pay-per-views, but I don't watch the television. But I haven't seen any clips posted online that I'm like, this is objectively worse than that QTV segment from the other night, bro.
I still haven't,
except for like the Uncle Howdy shit. But that's
right.
I feel that's invoking Uncle Howdy's like cheating.
I enjoy QT as like a standalone. I think he's a fun heel. Like he obviously shouldn't be on TV like every week, right? Like there's a role for QT. Like, but he cannot find what that role is thus far. I mean, this QTV thing is like the worst possible usage of him. It's insane. Don't get it.
I feel like he had it. He was in his lane for a little bit. Delusional heel. He could go out there. He can wrestle, but he dumbs it down because that's part of the character. You know, he talks his shit on the microphone a little bit, and then he gets his ass beat, and everybody cheers. Like, he had it, bro. And then, I don't know, they keep trying to do, like, actually QT do this, actually QT do that, and it never works, bro.
He has a knack for forming some of the most shambolic groupings of talents. Like it's
bro,
a walkout.
John Morrison making his re-AEW debut, his return to AEW, by hitting the fucking Superman in the jeans and looking like a fucking 18-year-old, bro. Like, come on, man.
I do think if John Morrison could possibly work on like Rampage or maybe Honor Club, QTV is not a terrible spot for him, but it's just like my main issue with QTV is how much time they get. and then
Yeah.
also them latching themselves onto Powerhouse High.
I don't like any act in AEW that makes me in the moment question, do I like AEW?
That fucking
That's all I'm
movie
saying.
review just felt like it was going and it just wouldn't stop.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Bro,
That was a
look,
good question to me.
Who thought of the QTV act and was like, you know what? This will get over Will Hobbs.
QT.
This will get Will Hobbs over, bro. Like, and then people
Yeah.
just signed off on it and they just threw it
Right.
on TV. Like, what the fuck? I'm still
I
trying to
don't.
think. I want to say Sonata, but I'm a longtime Sonata fan, right?
Mm.
I don't like how he cut. I don't like him cutting his hair. I don't like him dyeing the back black. I don't like him cutting his beard off. I don't like him leaving Lij. I don't like none of that shit, bro. I don't like Just Five Guys. I don't like that shit. So I'm not gonna like it. I'm not a Sonata fan no more, and he's dead to me. Actually,
Well, there you have it. I mean, thank you for the super chat. That was a really good question.
bruh. Hey, yo, that Jimmy Uso line almost made me choke. Pause.
Pause.
What is your guys' favorite match finish of the year? What is my favorite match finish of the year?
That's a really good question. Wow.
The finish of the 3-way maybe with Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus. I remember like a splash and a power bomb or some shit. Like it was really creative.
What was that?
He
Didn't
powerbombed him
he
on the back of his
powerbomb him on
head.
top
Yeah.
of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on the back of Drew's head, right?
I loved that fucking match, bro. I gave it a 5 on the WrestlePedia spreadsheet, and I'm
Me too.
chief fed bad guy. I loved that match. Joe, Rob, y'all got one? Let me think.
I don't know.
Maybe the steel cage ending. Either the steel cage ending
Great.
to Mox and Kenny,
That
or
match
the
is
Double or Nothing ending.
I'm gonna steal Pylon's answer in the chat. Joe Darby free, the exposed ring mat, Muscle Buster, where Joe looked like he was in agony when he landed on that.
That was
You know what?
Yep.
You know what? I'm
That was
going with
sweet.
Joe's pick. I'm going with Joe's pick.
That's
match,
Pylon's credit to him. That's his deal. But that's
that match
tremendous.
is fucking godly, bro.
Yeah.
You know what it is?
That rivalry was great.
You know what mine is? Actually, and I needed the chat to remind me of this because it's just been so much wrestling this shit.
Yeah.
But Adam Hangman Page showing John Moxley how he got his fucking name in that Texas Death Match was beautiful, bro.
His entrance at that show was awesome with that song I was playing.
It was proper fucking star, man. I love Hangman Page, and that's why there's so much rage in me when people like Evil Uno pin him on national television. Bro. I don't care if Lucifer himself interfered in that match, rose up from fire and brimstone through the middle of the ring, took his pitchfork and shoved it up Hangman's ass and spit roasted him for 3 hours. Evil Uno should not be pinning him. All right.
I'm on the same page as you, man. I don't care what the scenario is. I don't care who popped in. It just shouldn't. It's just a visual that shouldn't take place, given that John Moxley's worked so hard to kind of help Hangman get back to where he's been, you know? So, not a fan of that for sure. Yeah, man. So that was the match finish of the year. Thank you for the super chat, bro.
All right. DN Maz, $10 super chat. On July 15th, we're getting Omega Vikingo 2, Kento Nakajima, and Gene Blast Kaito, Generational Dave Grabs. Facts. I did not know about that Kento Nakajima match, but I will be tuned in. Omega Vikingo. Kenny's just going to continue to show why he's Wrestler of the Year. And Gene Blast Kaito. I feel like Kaito's going to show us something crazy in that match, bro. Because they've been treating him like a punching bag recently.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, we're now at if this is to be believed, we're at 235 live viewers.
235, man.
Really appreciate you guys. Make sure to like the video if you have not liked the video. It's how I pay my bills and feed my children, so I really appreciate that.
You don't take care of your children.
I do my best.
Your children are on Section 8.
You have not seen your daughter in 7 years.
I know 2, but again,
$300,000 child support payment.
Life is give and take. You know what I mean? Sometimes they gotta learn for themselves. Sometimes to fend for themselves. Chi-Town Spurs $5.
All right,
it's December 31st, 2023. What is the craziest thing that's happened in the second half of the year? Kenny Omega and CM Punk will be in the same ring.
No,
it certainly feels like it's going to involve CM Punk, right? It certainly feels like that's it. I don't know which way necessarily. I have some concerns, but yeah, it feels like it's going to involve CM Punk in some form or fashion. That's what history would tell us. We'll see.
CM Punk flashing out on Dax Harwood.
Oh my
That
god.
would be CM Punk flipping out on Dax and just that breakup. That would be generational content. To see the divorce on the timeline would be all time shit. Craziest thing to happen. Fuck, I don't know,
Would
man.
Triple H getting fired by Vince McMahon be the craziest? Like, would that
I don't
be?
think that's crazy. I think it's more likely
That would
than
be
not. Not that I'm saying it's likely, but I think it's more likely than
Yeah.
not.
That's like a probable worst case scenario. You know what I mean? Like,
that would be
Yo,
huge.
you don't.
Like,
Yeah, it's probably gonna happen because you don't bring Vince in a room and tell him like, we need you to leave without that nigga feeling some type of way.
Like,
I,
come on, bro.
I don't
Yeah,
want to overstate it because we've done this a million times with WWE, right? Like, oh, their fans would revolt. They wouldn't, but that would be like a big blow in terms of perception. Like, whatever we think of Triple H as a booker, good and bad,
their fans
the
believe in it.
perception is certainly they believe he's turned things around and got things back on track. So yeah, that would be massive for sure.
I don't think WWE fans would be willing to go back, bro. Like they've defended that Vince nonsense for so long, and then they finally made it out. They made it out. Triple H is just giving them like no matter whether I think it's good or bad, I think it's bad, right? But at least what you're seeing makes sense, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And a sane person is booking this television show. For them to go back to Vince McMahon's deranged vision of what pro wrestling is, bro. I don't think they could do it, bro. They might really revolt. Like, there's always gonna be the sick pads and shit. Like,
bro, niggas are coming up from NXT with completely new names, and it's just like
come
nigga, I saw you
on, new
Tuesday,
names,
like,
new gimmicks.
like, your name was Pete Dunne. Why are you Butch? Like,
Why are you Butch, bro? Why are you pretending like we don't know who you are?
Insane. Thanks for the super chat. All right, we'll go to the next award, guys. Let's pull this list back up.
You guys want to get into Women's Wrestler of the Year?
Yeah, let's do that. Who's your Women's Wrestler of the Year? I'm gonna keep mine short and sweet. Women's Wrestler of the Year for me is Athena. She's been so consistent. She's remodeled herself, to be honest with you. I think this is the best version we've ever seen of her. And that's after a couple of down years from Athena. I thought her best years were behind her, to be honest with you, when she was coming out of WWE. And not only is she's kind of taken a new direction. Before she was kind of an athleticism-based wrestler. Now she just beats the shit out of you. She's just a fucking bully. And I buy into it. I'm a big fan of it. I think her work has been so solid, and it should be viewed by more than the Honor Club audience. And that's why I'm excited to see her on TV. It's why I was crushed when she couldn't work Willow. But big fan of Athena, what she's done this year. She's my Women's Wrestler of the Year. Rob, how do you feel about this?
I do like Athena. I love Athena. Don't get me wrong. She's doing very well in ROH right now. Just doing her own thing, getting, like you said, straying away from the athletic stuff, and just doing her own style of not big woman, little woman in a sense, but it's like underdog David Goliath. But I'm gonna have to go with Big Giulia, baby. Big Julia, we doing big business over in Japan, baby. Hey man, soon come later on this year that Mercedes match is coming, baby.
That's gonna be.
We gonna be up.
Yeah,
we gonna be up.
I want to shout out Willow Nightingale. I think she's had an awesome year too.
She's so good.
I love
so
Willow.
good.
Big fan. Big fan. Ayo, who's your Women's Wrestler of the Year?
It's got to be Athena. It's got to be Athena. She's carrying an entire brand on her fucking back right now. Before it was arguably her and Claudio. Claudio hasn't been to a taping in what it seems like 9 months now.
Really? That's hilarious. Like he's been gone for a little bit. Like
he's always been gone for months. He hasn't been on Ring of Honor television in months, bro. Like, and I get it. Like he's very involved in what's going on Dynamite. Like he's very much part of the central story that is AEW Dynamite right now. But it's just like, show up, bro. Like he's cutting some promos, but he's not really wrestling anymore and shit. And it's But Athena's someone I always like. Her matches are someone I always go and check out. Even if I'm not familiar with who it is, like watching her find ways to kill someone every week is very inspiring. Is great television. She needs to be showcased to a larger audience. She needs to be on Dynamite, but we don't need it with the Outcast originals nonsense. That's not going anywhere. I was hoping that there was going to be a Blood and Guts. That's not fucking happening. I knew it wasn't happening when they started like politicking to the sheets, right? And they were like, the reports started coming out. It's like, oh, AEW women are hopeful that the Blood and Guts match is happening. or they give an interview and be like, "Oh, I'd love to do all women's blood and guts." Like, all women's blood and guts sounds great. These are not things that you would say if you knew what was coming in July. You know what I mean? So it's just like this whole originals outcast thing is kind of just treading water. It's not even kind of. It's really just treading water.
It
We need
fizzled for
Athena
sure.
on Dynamite though. I'm kind of concerned over the fact that her match was bumped to Rampage. Athena Willow was bumped to Rampage as opposed to Sky Blue and Ruby Soho being bumped to Rampage. I feel like Ruby Soho is gonna win this Owen, and it really should be Willow or Athena. Man, both of them deserve it.
Good shout. Good shout. I want to quickly shout out Rhea Ripley, who is not the women's wrestler of the year because she hasn't wrestled enough to be the women's wrestler of the year. She hasn't wrestled nearly enough. But as a TV presence, she's become a genuine superstar for that promotion. I think she's like legitimately one of the biggest.
Yep.
I think she's one of the biggest stars on Raw, like just like straight up male or female. She feels bigger than Becky Lynch to me. Crazy presence. I think she's really figured herself out. She's very over. And yeah, man. And when she does wrestle, I enjoy what I see out of Rhea. She just doesn't wrestle enough, but I'm just really enjoying her as a television presence, which I can't say for a lot of women's wrestlers that I even like that I like. For whatever reason, there's a lot of women's wrestlers that I like right now that just aren't doing things that are productive on television. But Rhea Ripley is, so I do want to shout her out.
And in that vein, I will let you shout out my queen Bianca Belair,
for no
greatest women's wrestler in WWE. Huge star, seen her division, carried the division on her back for over a year, not getting her proper due. Some sick fucks on this panel right now dare to diminish her star power, her work on the timeline. Got the proper lashing that they deserve. You know what I mean? But shout out to Bianca Belair.
Shout out to Bianca Belair for sure. She's a hell of a woman. All right, guys, who's the most improved wrestler?
Whoa. Don't share the allegations with me, brother. I haven't given my pick. You nearly got me in trouble there. No one's wrestler of the year from behold, but
I'm so sorry, Joe.
It's fine. I haven't got nothing to add if we're being real. It's Athena, right? All I would say is she's like embodying the idea of a world champion. Right? She can have these knockdown, drag out brawls with an Emi Sakura, but she can just as easily bring someone on an elevator, Sky Blue, or a Willow Nightingale for that matter, or a Kiera Hogan as of late, which was like, that was so impressive what she did there. So Athena is an incredible story this year. It started at the end of last year with the squash matches, but her work has been remarkable. She's been great for years. It's been really good to see her get this run.
Most improved, I want to give this to a woman. I want to give this to Mina Shirakawa because she's somebody who, when I first watched Mina a couple years ago, she was definitely in stardom for very like specific reasons. It felt like she was more of an eye candy talent, more of someone who was there because she was attractive. She did a lot of the kind of modeling type stuff and the gravure type stuff on the card, frankly. And that's kind of where people slotted her, and she wasn't seen as a good wrestler at all. And this year, she's had a number of big matches where she's just absolutely delivered and looked really good. I have a couple of 4-star matches from her this year. So for me, the most improved wrestler would have to be her. And if not her, it's going to go to the former Colin Cassidy, the former Big Cass, Big Bill, who's a fucking beast.
Big Bill, baby.
That rocks. This guy's the thing is, Monty kind of ironically liked him last year. Like, oh, he's big, man, he's big, and I'm like, yeah, Pop, he's
big. Made it pops me.
Yeah. Now he's like a beast. Like, he fucking rules.
Hard, yeah.
Big Bill is awesome.
Yeah, man. But Rob, who's your most improved?
I'm gonna have to go with Mina. Every time, you'd always see those posts on the timeline, but I would always see like in the replies people being like, she fucking stinks, she sucks. But ever since the match that she had, I think it was at the beginning of the year, either I think it was somewhere in January. I have to go back and look it up. But ever since then, she's just gotten really, really better from what I used to watch, from what people used to tell me. So
she has a match with Saya Kamitani this year that's like preposterously good. Like it makes no sense how good it is. She has a match with Tom Nakano that's also great that I saw. She's had a resurgent year for sure. Joe, who's your most improved wrestler this year?
Yeah, I have to concede on. I've reviewed a couple of Mina's matches, but I can't speak to the improvement because this is really where I've got familiar with her, right? So that's difficult. But
Mm.
I would say two kind of US picks on the women's wrestling front for most improved would be, I think Tiffany Stratton has to be mentioned, right? Tiffany Stratton was like a gimmick who was athletic before, and I'm not saying that she's completed her progression by any means, but she can have real matches now. Like the match she had at the takeover was like, she sold and she worked a structured match, and it was impressive in that regard. Also, and I know this is a slightly divisive name, but Sky Blue has come a long way, genuinely. Sky Blue's match with Athena, if you'd have told me 6 months ago she'd have had that match, I'd have been pretty impressed. Now, granted, she was assisted there by a great dance partner, but it takes two to tango. I think she's steadily getting better, even if she's still inconsistent, which is natural. It's the way it goes. So that's two names I would bring up for sure.
You know, it's funny. I haven't fully connected with Sky Blue yet, but what I will say is that she has a couple intangibles that I'm starting to see in her matches when it comes to being able to get over. And what I respect the most about her is that she's taking all the house show bookings, and in AEW, the house shows are optional, but she's still making an effort to go to every one of them because she's making a concerted effort to improve. And I'm sure the office has noticed this, and as a result, that's kind of why she's getting positioned on television every week. So shout out to Sky Blue for sure. Ayo, who's your most improved wrestler this year?
So I don't disagree with anybody mentioned. If I had to pick one, it's definitely Mina. But we've put her over so much, and deservedly so. So I'm gonna go with someone else. But yeah, the side match, the not supporting match, the time match, those were all amazing. But if we want to talk most improved wrestlers of 2023, we have to talk about one. Harai Kawato, Master Wato himself, baby.
Oh yeah, I
What a
forgot
fucking
about
work.
Master White.
What a literal meme. Like, all right, so Mina had the road from going from someone who was brought in for very obvious reasons. She was there to be like a pinup girl for the most. She was there to be in the calendar. She was there to be at the photo shoots. She was there to look very good, and she's turned into a real wrestler. Master Wato, who New Japan was always invested in as a wrestler. Don't get me wrong, they don't got a pinup boy thing going on with him. But he was turned into a meme by Japanese and American fans, bro. Like, everybody was just laughing at dude. And then he goes into Best of Super Juniors. First of all, he looked like a star at Wrestle Kingdom. The match was built around getting him over, and it did. Then he goes into Best of Super Juniors. And he has banger after banger after banger. Word to the big fella, man. Word to Sheamus. And then he had the Titan match, the Mike Bailey match, the Hiromu match.
Nah, don't forget about the Taiji match at the New Beginning that we watched.
Bro, the Ishimori match? Like, like, Master Wato is he's looking like someone who they could put this junior division, like they could put the junior division on his shoulders with and tell him to run, bro. Like, I know there's the Bullet Club War Dogs, right? The junior tag division. They look really strong too. But, Clark Connors is a guy that's obviously, like, he's basically, like, you know how they got Heyman guys? Like, Clark Connors has turned into a ghetto guy. Like, he doesn't come out to the ring without ghetto nowadays. Like, they're obviously very invested in him. But on the Japanese side of things, I feel like Master Wato's right there with him, bro. Like, he's looking like a real star, man.
I actually love the pick. Best of Super Juniors final was one of the best matches of the year, right?
Nice.
Like and I think again that's one of those cases where would you have necessarily predicted that 6 months ago? I'm not so sure. The heights that match climbed were quite incredible. So I like the pick a lot.
Best of the Super Juniors was very fun this year, and I think most refreshing about it was like the different names at the top. Like Titan came back to New Japan late last year, joined LIJ, and him making it all the way to the finals was pretty surprising. I didn't expect that.
Me neither.
And seeing him do well and seeing Mike Bailey do well and then seeing Titan go to the finals against Wato and have the match that they had, which like I just didn't expect they could have a match that good. Frankly, I always looked at Titan as like a good, not great luchador, and I always saw Wato as a shitter, frankly. So you know what? The more I think about it, even though AO feels like he's memeing, there's a lot
not
of
memeing at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say his choice is very valid.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, a lot of wrestlers this year that have certainly kind of taken it up a notch and leveled up. Oos,
Yeah.
So yeah, Joe probably doesn't get. Rob,
has Jay leveled up this year?
No, I'm saying Jay always says that. Like he'll be like, level up, boost, I level
Oh, okay,
up, boost. Like he always says. If you watch the TV, like it's one of his things that he says.
Real.
But yeah, man. What's the wrestling TV is the foundation of American wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It's what guides the week-to-week stories. It's how American wrestling tells their stories and progresses their characters and talents. It's what we consume while we're waiting for pay-per-views to go. And for the longest time, it was a certain way, and AEW changed the way American television wrestling was consumed with how Tony Khan books his TV. And we have a lot of wrestling on TV these days. If I'm not mistaken, there's wrestling on TV like, 5 to 6 days of the week right now? It's a lot.
I think almost every day.
We're absolutely inundated with it. And that's just from the two major promotions, not to mention the other companies like an Impact and other places. But there's a lot of TV. Some of it is good. Some of it is not good. This is a weird one, but we're going to go into the best weekly show. And I'm going to start this one. I'm going to say this. This is really hard for me to answer because I'm a weird sicko that I like certain things from this place and certain things from that place. And rarely these days am I watching a top to bottom show that I'm like, I just love this overall. Like I'm usually just kind of tuning in and I'm like, well, I like that and I like this and like pop, Collision is becoming that for me, but Collision is 3 weeks old at this point, 3 to 4 weeks old. I think AEW
You said
Dynamite,
Collision is a show that you're enjoying top to bottom.
I feel like I like it overall. This is me. It's me and my
Scorpio Sky.
Scorpio Sky versus Action
Just
Andretti
had a
this
bat.
week, by the way. Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs happened this week, by the way.
Now, anyway, the point I'm making is
And this is a show you enjoy top to bottom?
Anyways, I'll say this.
Julia Hart versus Piper Navin happens this week, by the way. Malachi Black's promo happens this week, by the way. And this is a show that you're enjoying top to bottom.
2 weeks ago, by the way.
Anyway, the point is
okay, that's what I thought.
The point is this. I think that this year has been the most uneven for Dynamite since like the first year probably. And yet I'd still probably say that it's generally speaking the most consistent wrestling show the first half of the year in the sense that that's your best bet to get high-end wrestling. And so I'm probably going to pick Dynamite because when I look at like what I like from a SmackDown, right? And the amount of things that would entail is dwindled post-draft to just kind of like the cool bloodline thing. But it's way too focused on that one story for my liking. That's just not how I prefer my TV. Raw is 3 hours long. I enjoy the Cody Rhodes stuff. I like watching people like Gunther and Chad Gable. But it's still a 3-hour show. It's just a difficult watch most weeks, and there's a lot of things that I'd just rather not be seeing. NXT, Shawn Michaels is insane, and the show is confused. I enjoy the odd Dragon Lee or Nathan Frazier match, but it's NXT. Rampage is really bad. And so, I'm left with Dynamite, which, for all the criticisms, he said he was being a diplomatic coward. For all the criticisms, you get a great match every week. So I'm going to cowardly just say that Dynamite's the best weekly show for now. I think my answer is going to definitely be different by the end of the year to Collision, but that's my choice right now. Ayo, what's the best weekly wrestling show?
It's AEW Dynamite, and it's not. I'm not going to sit here and talk about how Dynamite's so great, so awesome. I'm not going to do that because it's really not right now. But it's the best. It's number one over everything else. Collision's not great to me. Don't really enjoy it. It's not really even agenda driven. There's a lot of shit on there I just don't like, bro. I'm not saying agenda. I loved that FTR versus Bull Club Gold match last night. Or love is probably a strong word, but it's a solid four and a quarter. Like I liked it a lot, bro. And if they could do stuff like that every week, maybe I'll like it more. But it's just I don't know, man. Like that Joe Punk match, didn't love it. The FTR versus Bull Club Gold multi-mans, the CMFT Ricky shit, don't love that shit, bro. All the other shit that they're doing, they had Andrade versus Brody King with a fuck finish. Get that shit out of my face. Take that back to WWE. They had, what are the standout matches have they had in Collision's history so far?
You're asking me what the standout Collision matches are?
Yeah.
Oh, easy, bro. Andrade versus Buddy Matthews.
Didn't like it.
Every single main event between Roddy and Joe.
The Roddy and Joe match I loved. Absolutely loved
the two CMFTR tag matches. FTR versus Bullet Club Gold, Samoa Joe versus CM Punk. Those would be the great
Yeah, bro.
collision
Like
matches.
I'm like shooting. They're like shooting 40% here with me, bro. Like,
Oh, yeah.
don't really like it. Don't watch Raw, unwatchable garbage. Don't watch SmackDown, unwatchable garbage. What
No.
else do I watch weekly, bro? I don't watch anything else weekly. Impact, I'm sure it's fine, but it's not for me, bro. So I gotta go with AEW Dynamite.
I feel like
Rampage is garbage, but I watch it sometimes.
I feel like Rob might back me up here. It's weird. This is a weird one. My favorite like wrestling TV this year is like the LWO Judgment Day feud. Like the stuff with Ray and
Oh
Dom,
yeah.
and just like the angles where like they're chasing each other off and brawling on the outside, and Zelina's like doing Ranas off barricades to Rhea Ripley and shit, and like Santos is doing double dives with Ray, and Ray is telling Dom he's gonna kick his ass, and
Hey man, like
it made me feel something, But
I don't know, but the Raw has good. I can't pick a WWE show. Obviously,
yeah.
obviously it's gonna be mine. Dynamite. Because more fun shit has happened on Dynamite that outweighs the fun shit that's happened on Raw. SmackDown. But
Right.
I can't do the one because it's like Raw's 3 hours, so there's good shit here, then there'll be. Why are we getting Trish Stratus versus Raquel
Is this
Gonzalez?
good shit in the room with us right now, Rob?
Yo, how was FTR versus the Guns?
I don't want to talk about it.
Continue.
But, it's just like why we'll get like Tommaso Ciampa coming back, and then 5 minutes later we get Raquel versus Trish Stratus in 2023 for 7 minutes. So I can't really pick a WWE show. I just pick AEW Dynamite. Rampage is awful. Can't pick Rampage. And Collision might be worse.
Joe, where are you at with American Wrestling Television?
I think it goes without saying that I definitely am like a collider, as we call them here in the in the great sport professional wrestling. I'm definitely a collider, but like it's 4 weeks. I'm not nuts. I'm fully aware. You got to wait a while until you start kind of making sweeping takes about where the show stands overall.
I think takes right now. I'm just withholding.
Well, yeah, I'm saying like I would advise.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm a sick fuck.
I actually will be advising you to do that in the coming weeks and months, but we'll get to that another day. But look, Dynamite has its issues and it can be uneven at times, but it is still like the quality on that show is incredible.
Yeah,
you can like guarantee there'll be something worth your time on Dynamite like every single week.
Yo.
And moreover, there was a stretch. Would you say it was January? It started year was definitely this way, and I think it stopped around Revolution's build conclude. There was a stretch where there was 4-star matches on that show every single when Danielson was wrestling weekly, when he was the Bandito match, the Takeshita match, the Roosh match, which was the TV match of the year for my money. Joe and Darby feuding. I mean, Dynamite had some incredible moments. I think Dynamite wins it comfortably. Now, again, for my taste, I like what I've seen from Collision. 4 weeks. Let's see where we're at here as we get to the fall. But Dynamite for sure.
Again, I'd agree with you. I think Dynamite, again, it wins off just the consistency of high-end matches that you get on free television. So that's definitely my pick there.
Hey, man, all I'm going to say is one show is bringing you Joe versus Darby. The next show is bringing you Scorpio Sky in action on TV.
These aren't happening concurrently. Samoa Joe is on.
That's because Joe's been kidnapped.
It was such a spiteful example.
It was so obtuse and like,
it's kind of based.
Nevertheless, those were our best weekly shows. We did announcer. We did Booker.
Wait, let's get into some super chats.
Sure,
keep it coming. Sure. Guys, we appreciate the support. Keep the
and you know what?
Coming.
As a preview, after these super chats, guys, we're gonna go to the feud of the year. But let's go into
feud of the year. Nice. Yeah. Kirby Freeman, $3 super chat. Makai, shoulder blocks, lariats, and power slams.
What happened?
Okay. Oh, man, I feel like I'm missing a reference here.
Yeah.
Oh, brother, Darren Walker, £5 super chat. Juice Robinson most improved for me when he debuted in AEW. He was awful. However, since the team up with Jay White, Juice Robinson has been a very good wrestler for a very
That's a great shout out.
Yeah.
I do not think he's most improved.
That's one of those deals where it's more like a return to form.
Yeah,
sure.
Than anything else. But yeah, he's been great for sure as of late.
Absolutely.
Juice Robinson's been wrestling at a high level for better part of a decade now. Oh, bro, $5 super chat. Weird that if there was a promo of the year, it's probably the Ospreay Wrestle Kingdom one.
Oh, that was
still
amazing.
In my opinion. Never would have thought. What would you guys pick if I had to pick one promo that sticks with
hold
me the
that.
most?
Hold that. We're gonna answer that on Best on Interviews.
All right.
We're gonna
But
say
those
that.
are two different. I have two different answers for that.
Oh, okay, never mind. My bad. Sure.
I mean, I would agree with bro here. Like, if I had to pick one promo that stuck with me the most, it's the Osprey one at Wrestle Kingdom. Like, he's saying how he was stuck in England or he'd be stuck in Japan for so and so amount of months. Then his friend died. He had to miss the funeral, and Kenny's laughing in his face, being like, "Bro, that's not my fault, little nigga." Like, that was just
Ayo,
that was that real shit, bro.
I always appreciate a good trauma dump promo that doesn't come off whiny.
Yeah.
If you can trauma dump and you're angry about it and you're not like crying, which is Eddie Kingston, usually that's his bag. I'm usually into that. I thought Ospreay's promo face to face with Kenny was amazing. Zora Hart $5. Dynamite guarantees me one really good match on its worst night and a shirt off incredible on its best. Well said.
I agree. Completely agree.
All right, guys. What did I say we're doing? Like Feud of the Year.
Feud of the Year.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I blanked out for like a second. Yeah, man. A couple good feuds this year, a couple bad ones, but a lot of big stories at the top of the wrestling industry. I mean, we've seen things like the Bloodline stuff. We've seen the BCC versus the Elite. We've seen MJF and Bryan Danielson. The Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay have had a feud. There's a lot of candidates to choose from, right? And when I think of what's my feud of the year, I have a tie. One of them is from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the other one's actually from the World Wrestling Federation. I think that KO and Sammy versus the Usos is the actual core of the actively great content in the Bloodline story that people praise. No, listen, people talk about how great the overall story is, and I would say that like a lot of it's like fun and good television. I think the stuff that's actually like great is like it's in its core, it's like the Sammy stuff with the Usos and Sammy Usos and KO. And I think that their stuff leading the Mania is like legitimately excellent, and the payoff was a tremendous main event out of Stadium Show. So I had to give that a shout out. But then subsequently, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay is also a great feud. They didn't have a bunch of long talking segments, but when they did speak to each other, whether it be in pre-tapes or vignettes or the press conferences, all the verbal stuff is excellent. And that's from two guys who aren't seen as promo guys, so to speak, but I think both of them are very good on the mic. And the matches, I mean, they speak for themselves. So I think this is a great rivalry. I love the direction of the story where it's Will Ospreay chasing the ghost of Kenny Omega. It's like the fucking 23 hanging on the rafters, Michael Jordan, right? He's never going to be Kenny. He's never going to do what Kenny's done for the promotion because he's the guy that did it first, right? Not first ever, but like what Ospreay's trying to do.
Road era.
Exactly. And so Will is in his shadow no matter what he does, despite him being excellent. And I love that story. And I love how Kenny's just like, you're just not going to fucking be me, and I'm going to fucking beat you. And beautiful storytelling in both of their matches in the story. So you know what? That's also for me tied for Feud of the Year. What do you think, Joe?
This one's really interesting because I find it hard to kind of translate the Bloodline like saga to like a feud. Because while I agree with what you said, it's still like they had the WrestleMania match and the TV rematch, right? Which was good, but like I don't know, I find it very hard to kind of refer to it in those terms, which is maybe a me thing. It probably is, but my kind of idea of what I believe this world to be in terms of what it means to a TV show, as well as a series of matches, I would go with Hangman and Moxley. They had a match in LA, I believe, in January, right? Which was, I mean, they always kick the hell out of each other. We know that much. Those matches were super physical. They had the incredible one where they went to Cincinnati and Moxley came out with his dad. Do you remember that deal? And it was like he was bouncing back after being knocked out. I love that kind of central theme. I'm not as I love the Texas Death Match. It's not like my top 5 personally, but it's still great. And I think when you put those 3 matches together for the first 3 months of the year, as well as some of the promo work which we'll get to in terms of Moxley in particular later on, I think that's my pick personally. I think that's the most cohesive that I've loved. And it also spun into Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite, which is like that's kind of one thing in the end, right? So that's my pick.
Ayo?
So I think there's a couple feuds that you have to shout out. Okada versus Kaito Kiyomiya, BCC versus the Elite, Hangman versus Mox, which is probably number 2, but Omega versus Ospreay is just something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. From the promos to the matches to the fucking them putting each other over on Twitter afterwards, to whatever. Like everything's just been like perfect to me. This is one of my favorite feuds of all time. Forget the year. Yeah, man, it's that real shit to me, bro. Omega versus Ospreay is what I watch professional wrestling for. Like that, this is as good as it gets to me. The matches, the promos, the fucking everything, man.
Good shit, Rob. What's the feud of the year for you?
My feud of the year is between three choices, and that's Kenny versus Osprey, BCC versus the Elite, and maybe if it counts, what's currently going on with Roman and the Usos.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Bro, my question to you is right, Rob. I'm gonna let you
what's
get
up?
your shit off. How do you quantify what is considered a feud here? And then like, so if
That's
you're
what Joe
saying
was
Roman
saying
versus the
earlier.
Usos is a feud, right? Then you're counting what? The money in the bank match, and then what else?
The stuff that happened at Night of Champions, before Night of Champions, after Night of Champions,
What
going
It
stuff? What
into
definitely.
main
stuff?
event.
I'm genuinely asking. I don't know what you're referring
Okay,
to.
Where they did the big turn, right? Basically, is
Yeah.
the
and,
yeah.
realistically, if you go backwards, post Mania when Roman came back, they were doing that thing where like Paul Heyman was like just kind of like trying to distance the Usos from the rest of the bloodline, and they were like, "No, me and Solo are gonna go for the tag titles, not y'all." And they were like,
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck's up with that?"
I will say to Rob's point, like I think it's a candidate that can certainly get stronger in the coming months, right? We've got SummerSlam ahead where you assume it'll be Jay and Roman, and I think then it may have a better shot. Right now, it's kind of emerging as a candidate, but I'm with it absolutely.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
It's like
Someone in the live chat said that Dragon of Dijak is the most underrated feud. I don't know where I'd rank it, but I know that I love their match at that NXT show. I thought
I
that was.
don't I don't I don't think that's underrated because while I've never seen it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dave gave it either 4.5 or 4.75, and Monty tweeted that out, and there was like 200 quote tweets calling for the public execution of Dave Meltzer. You don't have that kind of passion for something that's underrated. Like obviously the audience that was catered to enjoyed the fuck out of that.
Well, that
So you know,
stinks, bro. It was a bunch of segments of him torturing Ilya Dragunov
Segments
for
were
no
very
reason
bad.
in the dark, bro. And also, there's like, Dijak, you're not a police officer, so why is he legally able to do? None of this shit makes sense.
From what I remember,
Yeah.
the feud was on TV. So we get these like pre-taped movie style scenes where like Dragonov's like strapped to like a chair, and all you hear is like Dijak like he'll be like he'll be like any last words or whatever, and he'll be like keep going, and he'll be like
what the fuck?
he's like
It
torturing.
appeared to be very bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the video package before I watched the match, and I was very confused as to
Joe,
what's going on
it
Tuesdays.
was very 2014 TNA.
I'm glad I
That's
didn't see
unfortunate.
any of
That's
that
very
shit.
unfortunate.
The thing is, 2014 TNA fucking rules because of how bad it is. You know.
I don't know. I think that's when they crossed the line.
Who won
Literally.
the last man standing match? Was it
Dragunov
Dijak
beat
or-
him. Dragunov beat him.
Okay, I was gonna
He
say
slayed.
he went through all that and ended up losing. What the fuck?
No, yeah. The whole deal was that he can take any punishment that was delivered to him. That was kind of the whole thing.
I'll watch that match eventually. It's not one of my bench WWE matches of the year.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, for what's in it
Jericho
though,
versus the Usos, not watching it.
yeah, from what's in it,
Piece of
like you're
shit.
probably gonna hate it though.
All right, guys, it's time.
All right.
Listen, man, my favorite thing about pro wrestling. I mean, look, I do love the wrestling. I'm not saying that this is like underneath it by like a comfortable margin, but I love promos. I love promos. When promos are done well, it's special. I know people that are wrestling fans that are friends of mine that, you know, before AEW existed, and you know their frame of reference for promos was just WWE, and they were like, promo segments are this and that. When promos are kind of unscripted and they're real and they come from your heart and they come from you, at its best, it's amazing. I'm a big fan of promos. I think we have a lot of great talkers in the business right now, but we're gonna decide who is the best on interviews. Before I even say my pick, Ayo's probably gonna pick the same one as me. I'll let you take the floor. Ayo, who's the best on interviews?
It's John fucking Moxley, man.
Mm-hmm.
You asked me what promo of his stand out. I don't know, bro. I love every time he has a mic. I'm like entrenched, like I'm in a trance, bro. Like Moxie's just in a fucking boiler room saying that real shit, bro. Just in the stairwell, saying that real shit in the middle of the ring, saying that real shit, bro. Like, yo, when Mox talks, I believe him. Like, Mox is an incredible promo, all-time promo to me. He's up there with any of the greats that you want to name, in my opinion.
I'm gonna just say that I agree, and that his strength this year is how succinct he is. Moxley can get to his point in such an economical fashion that it's like you have to see it to believe it. He'll hit every note, every beat, every point, plug whatever he has to plug, and sometimes do it in like 60 to 90 seconds. And so he's just been the most consistent talker to me this year. The stairwell promo where he's bleeding and he challenges Hangman to a Texas death match is unbelievable. He's an amazing talker, and this year he's having a nice collection of just great promos. So I would agree with you. Joe Holbert, who's the best promo this year?
Yeah, I got a cosign. I've said it before. I honestly think he's like clearly the number one promo guy in the business. Moxley, that is. And I think what's so remarkable about him is he has the quantity, right? He cuts a promo almost every week on TV, and it's always those snappy pre-tapes, to your point here, but he's not a guy who's going to have these long kind of extended monologues. But he cuts promo almost every week, and there is still such consistent quality. His content is always good, and always creative, and always fitting. He always leaves you with a line or two that sticks, right? And his delivery obviously speaks for itself. I think it's Moxley comfortably. I really do. And the stairwell promo, you beat me to it on that, because that is, when the question came earlier about the promo that you remembered, I mean, that is absolutely incredible. So I agree with Aaron's assessment. Also, I think he's an absolute all-timer promo. I really believe that. So Moxley for me.
Rob?
I love pre-tape promos, and I love, the stuff that Mox does on live promos. But when I think about interviews, I love live promos, and I love the energy. It's between two people for me. When Don Callis walks to that ring, and when Christian Cage walks to that ring.
I thought you were about to say Roman Reigns. Bro.
They're good shouts. I like that. Yeah.
No, those are really good shows.
Nah, bro, like, just the energy in the arena is just a real hateful vibe. Like, everyone when you think about heels, MJF is a good heel, but at the end of the day, when his music hits, people pop. When Don Callis, like that little music, the little music that came on the other night, or Christian Cage's music,
bro, because it's just a chorus of boos now. It's really just
yeah. And then or when Christian's music hits, all you hear is straight boos for 10 minutes. For 10 minutes, bro.
You know what's funny, Joe? I'm thinking about this, right? And I feel like I have two different types of promo people in my brain. Like, I'm separating them. There's a guy who kind of has a beginning to finish, closed, extended statement that they give verbally, right? And that's like a John Moxley, an MJF, Cody Rhodes, right? And then there's the guys who, to me, like, they're good at talking, and when they're out there, it's to engage the live crowds, and they're just good at being out there live and doing that, and it's like just good TV. And that's not to say that they're bad promos, but it's a different approach. And when I think about those approaches, I think about Don Callis, I think about Christian Cage, I think about, frankly, Dominic, I think about a Roman Reigns. These are people that just they're talking in front of a live audience, and they're getting a reaction, and it's there to be like. It's just there to eat up television time and be like good TV, if that makes any sense, right? Rather than like deliver a message, you know what I'm saying? And I love people like that too, for the record. Like I really get into all four of the people I just listed. But like when I think about it, it's very different than like a John Mox who's like, I'm coming out here for a very specific purpose to deliver this specific message, or a Cody Rhodes who's like a fucking has prepared presidential speeches and things like that.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, I mean that's, I think, one of the things also to your point about AEW kind of bringing, I don't want to say dramatic as they bringing promos back, but I mean, there is a truth to like promos were done a certain way. And unfortunately, the long time alternative of TNA kind of followed WWE suit in that regard, right? And it was unfortunate. AEW kind of brought back a certain roughness, and I think wrestling has been better for it. On the WWE front, though, I would like to, to continue playing my hits here. I think Jey Uso needs to be brought up. Just as
Jey Uso was a great promo.
When Jay locks in as a singles, as a solo promo, I think he's a great promo. So,
I don't know if you saw the closing angle of SmackDown this week.
I did.
I actually like that better than the Roman segment at the beginning, because it's just he beats the shit out of Solo. There's a bunch of chaos, and he just grabs the ring, and he's just kind of I forgot what he said, but he was basically just like, "We talking about a trial? What is your verdict?
The reason you preferred that was because that was like a wrestling angle.
Yeah, exactly. Like he
I
ran out there like a
appreciate,
he ran out like a madman, beat the shit out of somebody with a chair, swinging like a crazy person. They pulled it away from him. Security separates them. He rips a microphone out of the hands of one of the people and is basically like, "Yo, fight me." And then the show ends.
I'm gonna have to get you, like Monty said in the chat. I'm gonna have to get you.
I'm gonna have to get you.
I genuinely do. I think it's impressive what the Bloodline do with the longer segments.
Yeah.
But my favorite parts of the angle are always when they just do a professional wrestling angle. You know, a beat up, a fight up.
They're good at the traditional angle. They're good at it.
They're great at it. The Usos have been great at that stuff for years. That's their actual bread and butter.
They beat the shit out of Arcade Bro and them last year, bro.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's hilarious. They could literally do a throwback angle, but sometimes they're like, "We're just gonna act right now," and it's like, "Oh, okay, all right, sure." Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Apparently so.
Yeah, all right, guys. Match of the year. Let's fucking do it. Before I get this out the way, let me just tweet it, because I'm a carny. But yeah, I'm gonna start with Rob on this. Actually, there's been a lot of great matches this year.
This is easy.
Really?
This is easy. Either the one that we saw last week or the one from Wrestle Kingdom, but it's Kenny versus Ospreay. I just haven't picked one yet.
Talk that shit, Rob.
Come on, man. Come on, man. What are we doing? Come on, man.
It's one of the greatest matches that just ever happened in the history of professional wrestling, in the history of this great sport. Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay.
Come on, man.
Best professional wrestlers alive today. Man.
How many times in 5 years have you seen a Tiger Driver?
Shoot Tiger Driver right on his screen, bro. Walks that shit off because he's Kenny by God Omega, nigga. Masawa who? Hangman?
That's not.
He doesn't have as many 5-star matches as Billy Goat, nigga. What the fuck are you talking about?
Hey, yo, so I'm assuming you co-sign Rob. Talk to me about it.
Look, man. It had everything that you want. They was in there grappling. They was in there doing flips. They was in there bringing drama. They was in there. Billy Goat was trolling the crowd. They was doing callbacks to previous matches. They were doing callbacks to previous feuds. It had the lore. What else do you want in professional wrestling, man? It had drama. It had high stakes. It had danger. It had athleticism.
Security guards.
It had grappling. It had brawling. What else do you want in professional wrestling?
Come on now.
Very expansive, very epic, very ambitious, scintillating, exciting, dramatic, memorable. Ospreay and Omega 2 was certainly a match that I won't forget, and it's probably going to win match of the year by the end of the year on most people's lists. What do you think, Joe? What do you think is the match of the year? What's your personal pick for this?
I think there's been a lot of great wrestling, but number one for me was from January 4th and hasn't changed since. And I actually, to me, it's still like a distance clear of everything else, including the rematch, which I appreciate and love. But Ospreay Omega 1, I just think is an absolute masterpiece.
Come on now.
There is such a.
I like the first one better too. Kenny's a heel is crazy. Go ahead.
There's such a spite to that match, such a nastiness to that match, and it's in the second match, but the second match is broader, so you get different ingredients, right? Like there's different things at play there. But I just love the singular lane they took with January 4th. I think the biggest deciding factor, I think, is what match you prefer. Do you prefer the dynamic of Ospreay as the babyface of the heel, like that kind of that you just kind of alluded to, right? And I think, well, if you just kind of laid it out to me, I'd say I don't know about how I feel about Ospreay as the babyface. There is something incredibly compelling about the fact he has the people's hearts just because of how kind of spirited his performance is in that match, right? And Kenny is such an absolute just destroyer in that match, like just a demon, right? In that match, and it's just
scary.
It's one of the best matches I've ever seen. I think it is incredible, and I remember vividly, just to quickly because a few of the folks in the chat were with us for this, but we did a watch along for that. And it's like, stateside Tokyo show was like 5 a.m. that match probably was, right? Something in that range. And I will just never forget the way everything changed. We had 6 people on the stream and we were just locked in. It's one of the more special experiences I've ever had with a match. I love it.
Yeah, totally agree. I think it's actually comfortably better than the second one because Kenny Omega is an absolute just terror. And Ospreay is like fighting to like validate his existence in New Japan and not let the Japanese people down and not show them that he's a fraud. If he lost, Oh man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. My pick is not star ratings based. It's not cage match based, even though I give it a high rating. Um, I when I think about like what matches really resonate with me, like on a long term level, I just think about the matches like that really like kind of moved me. Because I watch great wrestling every day, right? And sometimes I think it's great, sometimes I think it's fine. But like the matches that really kind of make me feel a certain type of way emotionally, and it's not a lot. It's not a lot. I'm a tough nut to crack. Pause. But when it happens, uh, I remember it. Keiji Muto and Masahiro Chono moved me, even though it's not a match. Uh, Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal made me cry. I'm always gonna remember that match. And so in this vein, my choice is gonna be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos. In the closing stretch, when victory is in sight for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Fuck that shit.
Guys, I'm not a crier. And I don't know why I cry. I don't know if it was just because it's like PWG. The fact that these PWG guys main evented a Mania without like having to change who they are too much, it's just really nice to see. Like these guys is main evented. It's a tag match with a tag belt, and it feels important. I was like, this feels important. This feels really like special.
Jimmy Uso actually wrestling, like
the sun is setting, and the visual. So first of all, this match visually looks nice because it's like the sun is setting. It looks beautiful, And as Sammy's hair is blowing in the wind, and he makes that smirk, and the camera catches it right before the last Yakuza kick. I was like, man, this is beautiful. This is just what this sport is all about. And I love that. Manny once said on Twitter, sometimes you got to cry hoop tears, and yeah, man, hoop tears were shed here, man. This was beautiful.
That match is pretty bad.
You've never seen it.
This match
started. Hey, we was watching it. That match started. AO disappeared.
That's not when I left the pay-per-view. You're a liar,
This is the greatest tag match in the history of the company, in my view. Absolutely classic. It's
New Day better.
Look, bell to bell, do they do more exciting things than the Usos? Yes.
No.
Yes, they do.
Way better.
That's
if I wanted to watch some fucking 1/4 speed super kicks, my nigga, I'd turn on GCW, bro. I'd see what Jordan Oliver's
Hey, yo, you know what? Do you want to watch this Mania main event on Twitch since you want to be?
No, I don't.
Exactly, because it's excellent.
I don't.
That's good. That's good content, brother.
I will say about AO.
Particularly interested in doing. No.
What I will say about AO, even through the good shit while he was watching, he was like, that suplex looked a little bit unsafe.
What are you talking? Which match are you talking about?
I forgot, bro. It was just when we was watching it. It was
really
probably
when
good.
Gable suplexed Braun Strowman or something.
Yeah. He was like, that suplex looked a little.
Oh yeah, no. That was a really good match. That what was that? Ricochet was in it. Gable was in it. Braun was in it. What was that match in Mania?
It was a 4-way tag show.
Yeah.
It was
that was a hoot.
Yeah, I liked that match a lot. I enjoyed that match. Unfortunately, like I'm there during these Fed pay-per-views for one thing and one thing only: slander. So when things happen like that tag, when things happen like the Drew Sheamus vaulted 3-way, like it makes my job really hard. And then Charlotte Flair's music hits. I'm a fan of Ashley. Like I don't do agendas against her. Unless it's just like, oh, she always wins titles. Just to, rile up the drones a little bit. When her music hit, I was like, I knew this was going to be good. I closed my laptop. I went and did something else, bro. I don't got to watch this pay-per-view no more. There's no slander. There was no slander material coming out of here.
Yo, they were treating Germans like on the head. Like they were like.
Nah, when they started off bad, AO was like, this is rocking y'all. And instead of Germans suplexing each other, AO was like, all right, bro.
Yeah, because it took a while to get going. You're right. You came up there and AO brought up just in reference, but my favorite WrestleMania match this year was the Gunter triple threat that we talked about briefly earlier. I think that needs to be cited in the conversation. Right, it's not our number one. It's
definitely the Fed match of the year, in my opinion.
I think so too. Yeah. Trying to think of MJF and Bryan Danielson has to be brought up. Just again, that's a candidate for sure.
Joe, that's my number 2.
I thought that match was a masterpiece. So I'm with you.
Did y'all see Gunther KO for the ones that don't? AO, you don't watch. I know you don't watch.
No,
it was a great TV match. Why?
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's one of my WWE TV match of the year.
Oh, it was terrific.
If
Absolutely.
I had to compile what the best TV matches of the year are from WWE, 75% of the list is Gunther, if not like 90.
Hey man,
That guy's ridiculous. A lot of great matches this year,
I'm,
man.
I'm trying to think.
The Samoa
Go
Joe
ahead.
Darby stuff is great. Bryan
Yep.
Danielson versus Bandito is amazing.
Oh, just to touch on the Iron Man match, right? While I think it's probably the best hour-long Iron Man match, it's not even my favorite show. It's not even my favorite match of the show, bro. Like Texas Death, I have it over that Iron Man. But just the Samoa Joe versus Darby, those are two of my favorite AEW TV matches of the year, bro.
yeah,
Like Darby, I don't want to say Darby made Joe look like he was 15 years younger, because we've been watching a lot of Prime Joe lately, and no, like Prime Joe is a different animal.
I still get it
Like,
though. That was different.
Like
yeah.
a monster.
Yeah.
In
He bumped his
2023,
ass off
bro.
for him, bro.
yeah.
He was
Um,
the way he would like the term bumping like a madman is like overused at this point. You got bumping like Darby needs to be something that like comes in the lexicon of wrestling fans, bro, because that was a masterclass. I love those matches, bro. I think I watched the second one like 3 times, bro. Like I was just throwing it on.
It's
So
so
good.
real. It is
Hey,
so real,
man.
bro.
Oh,
I love that match. I love Kenny Omega versus Vikingo. I thought it was a real cool
yep.
novelty to see this guy come in
There's-
there.
Some love in the chat there for another one that came up earlier. Danielson and Roosh. Unbelievable TV match.
That was
Absolute
a
bloodbath.
fantastic TV match.
Ridiculous. Just
There was I think Hazuki versus Kamatani. I think is like, I haven't got my list in front of me, but I'm almost certain that's in my like top 10. That match was incredible. I can't remember what month that was from. Someone in the chat will know.
Speaking of Kamitani, the 2 cage matches that happened 2 weeks ago on Stardom.
Oh my god, you're right. That needs to come up. Yeah, absolutely.
Good shit. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm the high man on this match. I don't care what anybody says. El Desperado and Jun Kasai versus John Moxley.
Yeah.
And Homicide.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That shit
Hey,
is
man.
I do need to watch that match back because I was falling asleep, but what I saw, bro.
Whoa!
Like Homicide just getting through that entire match, not taking a single bump, bro. I'm not gonna act like I know a whole bunch about Jun Kasai, or I've seen like 24 of his matches, but I do know like the legend of Jun Kasai. I have seen a few of his matches, and just to see the reaction that he got in the New Japan crowd, see that pop was insane, bro. Like you don't see shit like that anywhere for anyone, bro. Like,
bro,
that was real shit.
New Japan doesn't do quote unquote garbage wrestling, and this guy brought all the fucking
2 straight nights too.
And the thing is, I like how unstructured and fucking stupid this match is. Like, the date, if you remember, they didn't do like tags until like midway. Like they were just fighting. Then like midway, they're like, okay, we're gonna like do tags and stuff. like tagging in and out. And I was like,
it's like, bro, why are y'all doing tags? It's unsanctioned, not unsanctioned, but it's like it's like a death. It's literally a death match. It's not even like a hardcore match. It's a death match. Why y'all tagging in and out? What's gonna happen?
It reminded me
delirium of the crowd. He's coming, bro. That entrance where they're just Kasai,
unbelievable.
Oh my goodness!
That's one of the moments of the year. Genuinely, that entrance
is amazing.
Lost their fucking mind.
Another one, I don't think he's quite in the top tier of candidates, but I do want to show it some love because I just adored it. Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli, I thought was just a beautiful world title match, and I'll never forget when Eddie reversed the Ricola bomb and got that like roll up for a second.
Oh my god!
I leapt to my feet instinctively. I thought it was going to happen. It was absolutely wonderful. I hope we get a rematch at some point. I'm sure we will. So yeah,
this isn't a match of the year candidate, but it's one of my favorite matches of the year. Very recently, the was it a 10-man tag? I believe it was at Forbidden Door with Eddie Kingston,
absolutely,
and the Elite.
Oh yeah,
versus the BCC and Takeshita and Shota. Match is awesome. It's just fucking great.
Awesome.
Just
I love that, yo.
Ishii and Takeshita's interactions, Mox and Eddie.
I'll even throw Ishii and Moxley in for one of my AEW TV matches of the year, bro. Those shoot headbutts
Oh
on
my
national
fucking God.
TV,
National
baby.
television.
It is incredible. The matches that we're just like compiling here, and we're halfway through this would be a great conversation to have in December, right?
Right.
We're
Right.
doing this halfway, like, just come out in the chat. One of my favorites, again, not a top tier match that you can have, but I adored the Mark Briscoe Samoa Joe match. That was like the ultimate like old lad brawl, like a
Bro,
shootout,
between-
right?
Yeah.
Like it was so rough, that fight. My God.
But
Absolutely. I wanna
between the
give-
Mark Briscoe Samoa Joe match and then Claudio Eddie happening in the same pay per view, I don't know if I ever like left like such a great wrestling pay per view just like so heartbroken, bro. Because I
Yeah,
really
it was
believed
a
in
weird
both of
feeling.
them.
It was a
Like
weird
I
feeling.
didn't go into the Eddie match believing Eddie was gonna win. I was like, yeah, Claudio was gonna retain. Mark's going
Right.
over, business. But like Mark lost, and I was just like, all right, man, maybe it's Eddie's night. And then Eddie was just making me believe during the match. And he hit the Hurricane. I was like, we got this one. No, man.
I will say
Wow.
there is something special about the way that Ian and Caprice put over the post match with Mark, where he goes to his family, and I like it's sad because we all want him to win, but I do think there's like something not like touching about the idea of the key was that he kept pushing, right? Like he's
Yeah.
still doing
Yeah.
this thing, and there's that great moment in the match. And we'll move on after this, folks. My apologies, but when Mark crawls over to the corner to make a tag,
Dog.
I mean, that
my
is
God.
like, and
Oh,
in
my
some ways, it's a straight like, but in some ways, him losing is so like, of course, that's how it would go because Mark wouldn't want the fairy tale, right? Like it was in a strange way, it made more sense. But I agree with you completely. If he wins the match, we probably talk about it slightly differently, but I love it nonetheless.
I think wrestling's
Tremendous.
pretty good, Joe.
I love it, bro.
I think wrestling
That's
is,
all the complaining
I
we
love
do. Wrestling is great.
It's true, man.
wrestling is pretty good.
I think I do think the match that he might win against Claudio at Death Before Dishonor, if it goes the way we think it's gonna go, and hopefully he wins, I think that might be a candidate for match of the year.
I agree. Claudio's had a great year, by the way. He's
know
kind of, gone on the radar. He's a great year.
I want to shout out. I do want to shout this out because of just the sheer spectacle. Bad Bunny Damian Priest was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That was a hoot.
Unfortunately,
Great
it was
quality match.
awesome.
That match
Yeah.
was fucking awesome.
Unfortunately,
When
it was
Carlito's
awesome.
music hit,
Listen. First of all, like the early stuff, the set pieces that we got in this match with the fucking Falcon Arrow off the platform through like a table and shit. Just the series of like Puerto Rican legend runouts, like fucking bro. The music hits for like Savio Vega, and he walks.
Bro, who was
up about-
expecting to hear fucking I spit in the face?
Bro,
That was
like,
awesome.
Yeah.
Listen, Savio like walking 10 steps and then just posing like an uncle at a cookout and be like,
man.
I'm gonna stay right here. And then like the Judgment Day is like, all right, I guess we gotta run up to this guy. And then like Balor's running up to him and bumping and shit, and he's just throwing like punches and shit. Shout out to TNT, former Puerto Rican legend, wrestled in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Carlito comes out there. Oh
Yeah.
man, what a spectacle! That match is awesome. One of the coolest wrestling matches this year. Bad Bunny's walkout with that song, I forgot what it's called, and like everybody in the Coliseo de Puerto Rico singing along to it. Great stuff,
Off
man.
their minds, yo.
Again,
I
wrestling.
actually found that match. I found that song. It's like 7 years old, bro. But those people were singing it like you just
like
I don't know,
like
man.
it's a
That
hot
was a
shit on the
real
Like
street.
he
moment.
just
Like-
dropped it.
like yeah, they were saying it like he just dropped it and it was like the number one song on the charts. Like no, bro, this song's old as hell. And it's just like that. Like you know how WWE for so long has been like chasing moments and feeding Michael Cole lines for him to say during these quote unquote manufactured moments so
This
they
is
can
a
play them
moment.
over in
It's like-
video
Yeah.
package in the future because it was such a great quote unquote moment. That match was a legitimate like moment, bro. Like
Yeah.
people are gonna
Yeah.
remember that. People
It was
that were
special.
there are gonna remember that for the rest of their lives, bro. Like people that watch that at home that maybe are Latino or Puerto Rican and it touches on a different level are gonna remember that for the rest of their lives. Like, just fans of WWE are just gonna feel that energy that those fans
Yeah.
had for that match and remember
Bro.
that shit, bro. That was a special match, unfortunately.
Logan Paul and Bad Bunny are like the Bird and Magic of celebrity wrestlers. like they're like
I
Yeah.
don't really
counter-
get the whole Logan Paul thing, bro.
What
He's
is
an athlete who could do flips. He don't really impress. What he did do that impressed me was the Miz match. I will put over the Miz match because
that I had no clue that was
shitter
gonna be
in
that.
my eyes.
Yeah, he's
So for
having
him
a-
to even get that down, even if he did walk through it for a month straight, which he self-admitted, but even if he did, bro, it's the Miz at the end of the day. So
Well, look, Logan is scheduled to wrestle Ricochet at SummerSlam.
yes,
and
sir.
I'm sure that would be a great match because
That's
Ricochet
gonna-
one of the best in the world at what he does.
I'm a Ricochet fan, and I think Ricochet in a single stadium match against like a big time person is a pretty exciting prospect, and I'm curious to see if
What he
Logan
deserves.
regains the upper hand in this celebrity war here. But yeah, man, a lot of great matches this year, guys. If you guys couldn't tell, wrestling's pretty damn good. A lot of these guys are pretty fucking good. So those are our matches of the year, and the last category A award here that I have, unless I'm missing something. Oh no, two of them. Sorry. All right, let's do this one.
Let's get into some super chats first.
You want to do super chats?
Look at your categories. See what we're gonna
Got
do.
you. Got you.
Get into some super chats right now.
Yes, sir.
Chi-Town Spurs $2 super chat. What's your worst match of the year? It's easily the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, in my opinion. An actual wrestling match, though, let me think about that. I'll come back to you. But
I think
the worst match.
I agree.
For me, I think you have to tie this to expectation on some level. So I'm sorry to say that I'm gonna have to take Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. Sorry, folks.
Oh my god, bro!
That match was dreadful.
As someone who was very openly a fan of both of them, bro,
right.
like that was the drizzling shits.
It was
that was the drizzling shit.
I agree with both. I agree with both of y'all because like
yeah,
the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match was garbage, but like nobody expected Bray Wyatt LA Knight in a Pitch Black match to be anything good, even though we didn't know what it was going to be.
Yeah.
Cole Jericho, personally, I was like, it's gonna be fine. They're gonna have a fine pay-per-view match, and then they had like something so below fine that it was like offensive, and it also like almost to me, it felt like it almost killed Cole's return like dead in the water. To be honest with you, I was like,
he's gonna have to turn heel again, bro. I was saying this to myself after watching the show. I was like, he's got to turn heel.
Until that MJF match, I was like, yo, Cole's fucked, So, yeah, man. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say for me, it's got to be Cora Jade versus Nikki Cross. Probably.
I heard that match was some of the worst shit ever.
If we're not counting like indie stuff, if we're talking mainstream, it's got to be that match.
Why did you sit through that?
Wait, when was this match? Was this main?
No, I never sat through it. Have you seen the clips on the timeline when they're trying to do DDTs and they were falling out of the ring? It was really bad, bro.
I didn't watch that. I have a rule when I watch wrestling TV, and it's like if it appears that it's about to be really bad, I'm gonna skip it unless I have to review it. So I wasn't subjected to this, But yeah, man. Trish Stratus has generally been pretty bad this year in the ring.
Yeah, it's
yeah, man. Dana Brooke pretty bad. Yeah. As much as wrestling is pretty good this year, American women's wrestling is
There's also the Bully Ray versus Tommy Dreamer busted open match.
That match rocks.
Just, oh my fucking god, bro!
Is that the one where Tommy does a swanton off a ladder?
Yes. After they shot a busted open angle where Bully Ray was just pretending like somebody holding the ladder was the worst thing in the world, and pretending like nobody ever held ladders in the TLC matches, and people were posting 1 million clips of the TLC matches with 1 million clips of refs holding ladders, and then they had a ladder holding spot in the busted open match. It was just like, what is going on here, bro?
Yo, Joe, bro, when Cardi Brain goes to a level where like you work yourself into a shoot that you worked yourself into, where it's just like I'm gonna criticize something on a radio show to then put in my angle, like
that is like the embodiment of what happened to the game I love. Like
it's like Cardiception, bro.
It's workception, like literally.
That's the worst type of wrestling imaginable.
I love Bully Ray, and I love the shit Bully Ray is doing in Impact too. And I was just like, dog, what's going on here?
That's the thing. I'm not ashamed to admit. Well, I am ashamed to admit, but nonetheless, sometimes Bully Ray promos hit my timeline, and I have a look.
Bro, sometimes Monty sends me those promos. He's like, "Look at this, mate. It's a real fucking problem. I'm get this shit on my face."
It is what it is. But when you start doing, podcast payoff, I mean, that's just ridiculous. I can't co-sign that.
I'll say this: I actively love Bully Ray, and I think he's an absolute moron.
That's a little. The love is a little strong. You should have like.
Yo, Bully Ray slander gets by Ibu, bro. Like I think it's safe to say that the Dudley Boys are like one of your top 3 favorite tag teams.
They're my favorite tag team of all time until a couple years ago.
There you go, bro.
There you go. When I was a kid, man, and I heard doom doom dun doom doom dun, I was like, let's fucking go, Yeah, man. What can I say, man? I was, I grew up and they were my guys. It is what it is.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Pylons $5 super chat. We appreciate the support. Derry versus Joe is my feud of the year, but maybe I'm biased because I was there live for the second match. And man, I'm not mad at you for that pick, bro. I love that feud. I love those matches. Being there live was probably a fucking spiritual experience. Mass Fan 84 $2 super chat. King will be promo of the year from G1 post matches alone. Those post match promos are gonna go viral, bro. Just
King,
invest your stock in those promos.
Hey.
Eddie is definitely, he could take that best on promo thing just because the year it seems like he's going to have for the rest of this year
Yeah,
is going to be something. Hopefully so.
and if this, like, between the G1 and if this Grand Slam title swap really happens, like,
Yeah.
Eddie's gonna have some shit for us. Dan Walker $5 super chat. Rhea vs Charlotte, best women's match of the year by miles. By miles is fucking insane. No women's match comes close to it. I'm gonna assume you only watch WWE.
Darren watches AEW.
I'm not even talking about AEW, bro.
Okay.
No, bro.
I'll tell you what.
Honor.
I'll tell you what, man. I'd have to re-look at where I'm at with some of the Stardom stuff. I think Charlotte Rhea is the best American women's wrestling match this year. Like, pretty. I think it is. I think it is.
If you want to say American, I'm fine with it. I mean, I've never seen the match, but people whose opinions I trust are saying
American,
it's up there.
yeah.
It's the best American match.
The Julia
other
versus
candidates?
Tam.
That's what
People
I'm
were saying
saying.
that was 5.5
Right.
stars after that happened. Meltzer gave it 4 3/4. People wanted Meltzer dead. I love that match. I was saying it was. I was saying it was 5.5 stars after it opened. I think I voted it 5.5 stars.
The match is
in the
great,
WrestlePure spreadsheet. Maki Iko versus Mizuki that just happened this weekend. Amazing match. Sure, love
really?
that fucking match. Yeah,
It was
bro.
great. Okay,
Yeah, on a
check that out.
shitty fucking pay-per-view. The pay-per-view was terrible. I was so mad I stayed up for it.
With the
Maki Ito
TJPW
main
show?
evented, and it was amazing.
I'll tell you what, man. I want to shout out Chihiro Hashimoto. She's somebody I had discovered like a year and a half ago, and she's so good. Like every
She's
time I
so
watch
awesome, bro.
she's just beating the hell out of people, man. Chihiro Hashimoto is so awesome. I gotta check out her match recently. She had a match I want to say a couple of days ago, where she was in the ring with Jun Akiyama and freaking Minoru Suzuki. It was a tag match. This is the type of stuff we get in Japan, baby. You know what I mean? The game that I love is back, Joe, because what I love about the Japanese scene is when it's at its weirdest, you just get these weird matchups from big names and smaller settings for no reason. And like, that's why that's the type of stuff that has you scrolling through Cage Match and going like, D'Lo Brown was in the ring with Keiji Muto in 03?
Absolutely, yeah.
If you go through like the early 2000s of like Puro, bro, like you'll find the weirdest matches you've ever. Remember Chronic, Joe?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They main evented a show with like Keiji Muto and Tai Okea. Like, why?
That is incredible.
Bro, everybody was main evented. Bro, Chuck Palumbo has main evented at All Japan Hall show.
That's
bro.
one of the great wrestling traditions of all. Just
Chuck
US
Palumbo.
I did a
TV
review
guys.
for that.
You
He watched it
it's
and
main
wrote a
event.
review on the
What?
timeline for it.
What a beast.
All right, shout out Chuck Palumbo.
You know what?
Rob, after that match, Rob had like a month-long error where he was like, you know what? Everything Chuck Palumbo did was actually awesome, and we should be watching Chuck Palumbo. Like, we need to be up on Chuck Palumbo.
Bro, Big Bill, go to Japan and main event the Budokan, bro.
That would be fire. Imagine Big Bill and Noah, bro. Imagine Big Bill just fucking choke slamming.
He would honestly
Jake Lee into obscurity.
Like, absolutely.
That would be godly.
Some folks in the chat. Some folks in the chat brought Mercedes and Kyrie, which also should be mentioned in terms of the US matches. That was a treat.
That's the second best women's match to take place in the United States, in my opinion.
Yeah, I loved Willow and Athena also. That was one of my favorites. Probably not that level, but I loved that match.
I'm gonna say this off the top of my head: American matches or matches with women tied to American brands. I'd say Rhea, Charlotte. Then I would go Kyrie, Mercedes. Then I would go Io, Bianca. Probably tied with
that was great.
And that's probably tied with like the high end Janie matches we were getting at the beginning of the year. I don't remember which one happened when. I don't know if Sheeta was last year. I can't remember. If the Sheeta match was this year, then that's like number 2 or 3. I mean 3 or 4. And then that's probably like my top 5. So good shit. I want Big Bill to win the GHC title so that Excalibur can go. Last week on Tuesday, Big Bill he won the Global Honored Crown Championship in Pro Wrestling Noah. Good
That
stuff,
would be
man.
fire.
Bro, $2. Most potential award, and why is it Obafemi? I don't disagree with the thing you said.
Look, man, I don't watch NXT, but Niger Boy Oba, my Nigerian brother, the clip did come across my feed, and I did love what I was seeing. I've been told that he's been missing from NXT ever since, and that sounds about right for a Shawn Michaels book show. Can't cat.
He's injured.
Okay. So who do y'all have for most potential?
I
think
that's interesting. I don't know.
I think
Gabriel Kidd.
Gabe Kidd could be a
Gabe
fucking
Kidd.
rock star.
He's
in
a
a couple of
monster,
years, bro.
yeah.
Like
We need to
I
run
think he
back
could
that
be the next
King-
top Gaijin.
That match he had with Eddie, what was that, like 2 years ago now? It was a while ago. I know
Yeah,
that
it
was
was a while
on New
ago.
Japan Strong. I'd like him to run that one back for sure. Gabe Kidd's a good pick. I
Fuck
like
yeah.
Leon Slater is a guy over here who is extraordinary, and when people see him, he'll blow up for sure. So
People are
he's one
raving
I'd
about
throw.
his match with Ospreay today. I have to watch that as soon as I
They
can
wrestled today.
find a way to
Okay.
watch it.
Yeah, I saw a clip of it. He gave him a Tiger Driver.
Yeah, he gave him a Tiger Driver in '91, a much
was this
safer
match?
one. It was just it was, he landed on his shoulder blades, but he definitely
Yes.
gave him a Tiger Driver in '91.
Where was this match? Was this in England?
Yeah, Rev Pro. Chuck was there. Chuck went to the show.
This is probably like 20 minutes away from me, and I had no idea. Unfortunate. Nonetheless, I'm not mad about this. Like retroactively, never occurred.
Bro,
They had
thanks for the
Oku
super
versus Great O'Khan.
Oh, never mind. That's fine. I'm happy to stay home.
Who do I think has the most
There
potential?
is one real wrestler.
Actually, I said Gabe Kidd, and Leon Slater. I'm also a big fan of. I need to watch more of his shit. Every match I have seen, I've loved it. I can't wait to watch that Ospreay match from the day. Rob,
Most potential. I will say. I guess I'm just gonna have to go Obafemi, bro. Obafemi. I don't see anybody in NXT right now. I used to like the Hank the Tank guy, and
Hank
the
the Tank.
Suplex Bros, but they're not really moving me right now.
who's the Suplex Bros? The Creeds?
No, it's this guy named Hank the Tank Walker and another guy, but they're like shooters.
Tank
do
Ledger, I
suplex
think
and
was the
shit.
other
Yeah,
guy's
Tank
name.
Ledger, baby.
First I'm hearing any of this.
Hey man.
Yo, when I seen the big Creed brother hit a springboard 450 splash, nigga, I could not believe my eyes.
Roderick Strong gave those kids HGH.
What is going on in the performance center?
Bro, he gave
Just
them
with those
niggas-
two specifically, because I'm not big on
Those
a lot of
two,
the talent
yeah.
out of there. There's a bunch of
Hey,
super
man,
freak
man.
athlete women that I think will be stars on the main roster if they're
Yeah, like
booked
Takara.
correctly. But on the men's side, I'm not really a believer on any of their self-made talent. Like Nathan Frazier is awesome, but he was on Indies. He was in AEW for a little bit. Seth Rollins trained him and all that. He's not a performance center athlete, right? But the Creeds, bro, they went from being
They don't know what they're
jeopardy of
doing.
breaking somebody's neck every match to just they're looking like
Bro.
America's best. What the fuck was Sean Benjamin and Charlie Haas?
World's
What's the name
greatest
of that
tag team.
World's greatest tag team,
Yo,
bro.
yo.
Like they're looking like them
Yo, Ayo,
on
Yo.
steroids.
Ayo, on a recent Creeds match, they did stereo shooting star presses. I was like, what the
Like, come
hell?
on, bro.
Yo,
Why
yo.
is the big Creed hitting the shooting star press?
You remember that shit they tried to do WrestleMania weekend where they were holding everybody up on their shoulders?
Oh yeah, they
trying to
almost
hit
killed
it?
someone on that bitch. They almost killed someone there. But
Listen,
the Creeds might have to leave my slander list, bro. Like
Creeds
they
are
might have
crazy.
like I have a WWE list, right? That like people who I love. I don't care that they work there. Those are my guys or girls. Mercedes was there before she left. Bianca's there. Montez is there. Who else is on there? Steen is a wobbler. You feel me? Ricochet is another one. I'm a huge, big Ricochet guy. But the Creeds might just have to. I might have to put
They're
the Creeds
real,
on the
bro.
list.
It's special, man.
Hey,
Listen,
man,
It's
listen.
special.
they're so real.
Walter's on that list.
I've
of course.
never, KO has the cannonball where he rolls into him in the corner. I've never seen somebody throw themselves like ball up and throw themselves before. I think it's Brutus Creed. Yeah, it's Brutus.
Listen,
So,
for sure. King of the North, $2 Canadian. All together against 6 man was main event was match of the year contender.
I don't disagree at all.
I love that match.
yeah.
It's so fun. So many cool interactions. It's a great show.
I also love the Dominion trios with Claudio.
Yeah.
Unbelievable match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
QQQ, $2 super chat. John Moxley sucks. Time to stop lying. Thank you for the $2, QQQ. Chi-Town Spurs, $5 super chat. Where has Obafemi been? Shawn Michaels hates Obi-feminism, I guess. Like Hangman said he's injured. Oh, Hangman, is this serious? Like, what can we expect here?
I think
Not to diagnose the guy on air or whatever.
Yeah, I think he fucked it up lifting.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Jan Theodore, $5 Canadian. Faction of the year, the Elite. The Elite.
Bullet Club Gold.
What the fuck, bro? What have they done as a faction?
Blackpool Combat Club is probably my pick.
Yeah,
I can accept BCC, definitely.
Yeah.
BCC.
Bullet Club War Dogs.
Hey, man.
Yo.
I'll take that over Bullet Club Gold. I can't cap. Bullet Club War Dogs, they just draped in golds right now. Mavs fan 84, $2 super chat. Satnam Singh running Japan would be an
Bro,
I'll tell you what.
it would go over, bro, for real.
I'll tell you what. If this was 2002, bro,
Oh,
that guy's main eventing a couple big shows.
Satnam Singh pops me huge. I can't cap, bro.
he's so funny.
Yeah, I remember when
he got pushed off the stage and he took that like scarecrow bump.
Yeah, I remember when like Omos was being over pushed, right? And then Satnam Singh just came around, and he did like one or two moves, if you want to call him that, and people were just lying that Satnam Singh was like the future.
Yo,
Yeah,
I was like,
crazy.
everybody in my
what's
group
funny,
chat.
AO? Speaking of Omos, he had his best two matches ever back to back with Brock and Seth Rollins, and I was like, you know what? He got to a level where I was like, you know what? I can tolerate him now being on my television. And WWE's response to this is like, we're never going to feature him on TV again.
Yo, y'all ever seen this one Japan match? It's Giant Gonzalez versus Nails.
That sounds so real.
Yo,
And
that
also,
match is so
also
bad.
-7 stars.
That's a Twitch watch along right there, folks.
Yeah. Yo, one of these days, we need a Twitch night where we're just watching the weirdest matches we could find from Japan. Like
Let's do it.
from the past.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
And the rule is it has to be lower than a 7 on Cage Match.
lower than a 7.
Yeah, it has to be lower than 7. But also higher than a 3. so to get that nice little weird middle, you know what I mean?
Nah, I don't think we got to go below 4, bro. That's where the weird shit is at.
No,
I was watching.
no.
I was watching a 2 SmackDown 2 weeks ago. Oh, brother. Oh, brother.
The thing is, you don't want it to be too overtly garbage, but not like good. Like it has.
I don't know, man.
You know, like,
Watching these retro good pay-per-views has been.
When you get
It's been opening my eyes. We've been watching 8 or above on Cage Match, TNA pay-per-views.
Yeah,
and bro, there are some real gems on there, bro. LAX versus what was that match again, Hangman, that we gave 4.5? Bro?
It was LAX versus Elix Skipper and
Loki
and Senshi. Yes,
bro.
You know the crazy thing about that one, Joe? You come to realize that like because Dave hated wrestling in the 2000s. If you go on Cage Match and you see something from Dave that from like 06 that has like a 3 3/4, you're probably gonna like it even more than that rating.
Yeah.
Because he rates differently now, right? And I'm watching that match and I'm like, current Dave would have went 4.5 on this, you know?
Right. LAX was such a great team.
Bro,
They were
amazing.
such a great
I'm
team.
watching these TNA pay-per-views, watching LAX. I'm like, why is Hernandez not the top guy? Like
They wanted to. They tried it. So that's the thing. It didn't quite work out. But there was a while there. It looked like he was going to be. He was getting over huge.
Hernandez felt like a star for a
They had some teams, man. Beer Money, Mercy Machine Guns. They had some tag teams for a while there.
TNA was fun. I don't care.
Oh, Ben Dixon,
even
$2
amongst
Australian. Still need a Brody King running Japan. That would be great.
Brody King should be given. Brody King should be given half of these pro companies as a world title right now.
Part of my
It's sad
frustration.
that someone who's like in their mid-30s, relatively injury-free, like just in good shape, just getting started really in their professional wrestling career, he's just trapped in this lore bullshit.
It frustrates me. Yeah,
It's
my biggest frustration with House of Black is that I'm a big fan of the two guys who are back in Malachi. I like watching them wrestle, and I feel like I don't get a chance to ever. You know, it's very unfortunate.
It's not the House of Black. It's 2 cucks and the Pepsi merchant.
Joseph
My
Holbert.
apologies.
Joseph Holbert, clearly
Hmm?
you have not seen that the
Early
feeling of the
broadcast.
mask. The mask is draining
They
the
don't
life.
understand
Taking
That was some
Survivor.
bullshit last night,
the
bro.
darkness.
Bro, what was
Betterment
that?
in
Your
life.
soul is being taken by the mask.
And I'm not even
His soul has been
anti-Lord. I
corrupted.
loved it when it was Malachi versus Cody, bro. Like I was loving the promos. I don't know what he was talking about, but I was listening.
Your
But
soul has been corrupted.
that shit yesterday, bro.
And then Andrade's counter promo was like, Malachi, I will take my mask because my mask is very important to me and my family. I'm like, bro, pick it up, God.
Bro, there was a
Let's
block
go.
on. There was a block on Collision last night for the tag match. I was like, do I like wrestling? I don't know.
Yeah, I was getting a little, Joe, I was getting worried. I was like, what's going on right now?
Bro, like the House of Black need the trios belts for any of the shit that they're doing right now.
Bro,
Bro.
why was Andrade was talking so slow for no reason? Like, he was just like,
Did you hear what Kevin Kelly said afterwards when he was like, I appreciate that he spoke slowly so we could all understand what he was saying. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But anyway, let's go.
Joe, when he said that, I sat up. I was like, wait.
I was like, what show am I watching here, bro?
Hey man, it's time. Hey, listen. Speaking, it's time to tell the truth about Kevin Kelly, bro.
Oh my
He's good.
God,
He's good.
It's
bro.
not 20. It's not 2015 ROH no more, bro.
Oh my God.
It might be.
Listen. He's got. I didn't like him in episode 1. I think right now he's in a nice group. I enjoy the team, so we're
I
not
think
doing
it was
that.
just
That ain't
marginally
it,
better
man.
than episode 1. And episode 1 was
But
terrible.
listen. We do have to get back on track.
Yes, we
Ben
do.
Dixon, thank you so much for the super chat.
All right.
Nash fan 84. Watch Muto match where he knocks up woman with mist.
Oh yeah.
Listen. You cannot. I'm gonna say this right now for some of the Puro guys. You cannot praise Muto and then like shit on WWE for sports entertainment, because some of the things that this man has done in his career is absolute. He's come out of a lamp before. He's transformed into different beings depending on the mist he emerges from. He impregnated a woman in a match with Mist. Yeah,
Sports style presentation, brother.
he's a beast. I love him. He's my goat.
Absolutely. It's wrestling.
Oh, Pedro,
Man.
$2 super chat. We appreciate it. Swerve Strickland needs a New Japan Pro Wrestling or a G1 run, please. I forgot how to talk apparently. Swerve needs to be booked properly in AEW. He's gotten very over with the fans. I think he's really found his groove with what they're trying to do with Mogul Embassy. It's just it's time to get him some wins. It's time to get him some gold, bro. People are really getting behind him. I think his heel work, like his style of heel wrestling, I think he's really like nailing down his style of what he wants to do. He's added like 20 pounds of muscle. He looks like $1 million now, bro. Let's get this machine behind him.
I have no desire to see Swerve in G1. I just want to see him more on Dynamite getting pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see him everywhere, bro. I'd love to see Swerve in fucking New Japan. I didn't like when people were saying that he should be in Best of Super Juniors. I kind of feel like, even though there's nothing wrong with being a megastar in Japan and being put in Best of Super Juniors, but I feel like if you're supposed to be presented as a serious American talent, going over to Japan and then doing Best of Super Juniors is kind of like, when you're not like 5'8", it's kind of like they put AJ Styles in the heavyweight division for a reason, if you know what I mean. Like at some point, Stardom like overshadows the weight classes and shit. So as a Swerve guy, I wouldn't be thrilled to see him in the Best of Super Juniors. Like it makes sense for a young boy like Yuta to do it. Because
listen, guys, tons of candidates.
We got one more.
Okay.
Barbara brought $2 super chat. Chris hitting the switch on Raj, moment of the year. It was a moment of the year. You know, people wanted to clutch their pearls and pretend they were mad at us, but they were really just racist and don't like us because we're black. Keep the super chats coming in. Go ahead, Ebu.
Sure. And as we do that, guys, we're closing out the category A awards that we'll focus on, and we'll see what happens after this. But guys, tons of great candidates this year between Billy Corgan's NWA and Court Bauer's MLW, or TJPW. Promotion of the year, man. Promotion of the year. What's the best wrestling promotion this year? A lot of what we're gonna say here is gonna overlap with things we've already said, to be quite honest with you, especially with like Booker and things like that. But for me, to just put it simply, it's New Japan because it's just interesting. There's so much upside with a lot of the decisions they've made creatively, and there's just so many cool and interesting and vibrant things happening wherever you look. And it's been that way since the beginning of the year. There's new belts, like the New Japan World title, which look, they did say it was gonna be for the young guys, and it's been the ZHJ belt, but fair. It does
But the
appear that
fucking run he's had with that belt.
Oh, yeah, he's
having
been great with that belt.
having a
Yeah.
great run with that belt. I mean, just like I said, they've reshuffled the decks and rejuvenated a lot of the talents. There's so many cool matches. Leo Rush is having a hell of a run in New Japan. I mean, my God, his match was fucking with Hiromu. The first one was tremendous.
Yeah.
I'm gonna forget
Bro, if we was
something.
doing comeback wrestler of the year, it might be fucking Leo, bro. I mean, nah, it's Kenny. But if it wasn't Kenny, it'd be Leo Rush, man. Like,
Yeah,
Nah,
it,
man,
it,
it's
it's
gotta be
the
remarkable.
resurgence he's had in New Japan. I'm
been
so
ridiculous.
happy for him. I'm happy. I'm happy he's there. He's having fun. The fans are loving him. He's having amazing matches.
Totally agree. I'm gonna forget something, but there's just so much to like about what New Japan's doing this year with the young guys, with the reshuffling, with the new groups, the newness of the product, where people have been repositioned. There's just so much upside. Like I said, things are looking up for New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's my promotion of the year, and at this point, I'm watching the shows in full. I'm watching the Road Twos. I haven't watched New Japan Road Twos in a couple of years. I'm watching the Road Twos now to scout, like I'm fucking Monty watching NXT. So I'm just very excited for where the promotion is right now. That's my company, my promotion of the year. Rob, where are you at with this one?
Probably New Japan. I mean, with AEW, they have a lot of the AEW Dynamite Rampage TV has been really, really bad. And it's not to say that there hasn't been a lot of great stuff, but like it's just the unnecessary segments. Same with Raw and SmackDowns. Unnecessary segments, unnecessary matches. Like it's not really the Guns' fault. I'm not gonna say because we bring up the Guns winning the tag belts and stuff like that. Yeah, like we bring up the Guns winning the tag belts and stuff like that. But there's obviously been more bad segments than that. But it's just gonna have to be New Japan. The way they've been, collaborating. Like I said, collaborating with Noah. The recent collaboration they did with AEW.
All that collab stuff was great.
Like, hey man, at the end of the year, we'll probably be. But I think like the first time in 5-6 years, New Japan will be probably the promotion of the year. Sorry.
Ayo,
This is New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't have a lot to add after what you and I agree with a lot of what you and Rob said. I will just say, like you said earlier, at this fall, right, by September it's gonna be tied up because AEW for better or worse, right?
Wembley.
There's just a bunch more AEW fans than there are New Japan Pro Wrestling fans. So if they do this 1-2 punch of All Out and All In, and they knock it out the park, right? It's gonna be hard to overcome, even if this really is a great G1 for New Japan. So, me personally, it's New Japan. I hope the G1's great. Will they win the awards at the end of the year? It's yet to be seen, bro. This 85,000 people in Wembley, 90,000 people in Wembley.
Yeah.
If that's the best show that AEW ever puts on, it's gonna be hard for anybody to be like, yeah, Wembley was awesome, but they're not my promotion of the year. It's gonna sway a lot of minds, and then they got a pay per view the week after that too.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely why I said that this is gonna be decided coming like into the early fall. To be honest with you, there's a lot of big shows right in that stretch coming from both promotions where people are gonna make their minds up for sure. Joe, put a bow on this, man. What's the promotion of the year?
Yes, New Japan. I mean, I think to AO's point, you also got to remember Grand Slam, right? Which is like AEW going to have a crazy month or so there. So I think you're absolutely right to bring it up. But thus far, for the reasons we talked about Gedo winning Booker of the Year, for the reasons we talked about throughout the show, like New Japan are getting things right in a major way across the board. And I say all this while not really being into the world's champion at all. But the bigger picture and the directions and the guys they're getting over, I think is very, very impressive. So it's New Japan for me also.
There's not a single company I watch right now that I give a fuck about the world champion. TAM, that's really it, I guess. So I'm just screwed no matter where I look, world champion wise.
That's interesting. All right, and then you know what? The final category A award, folks. What is the best major show? There's so many candidates. I have a couple weird picks for like best. I have like a certain tier in my mind, like the shows that I just absolutely love. It's literally just shows that I love, shows that I really like, shows that I like. And for the shows that I love, right? It's literally like Revolution, which I think is like people are already forgetting how incredible that show is. I think Revolution is like the best AEW show this year. I think it's better than Forbidden Door. I think Revolution like is just unbelievable, bro. Between the House of Black Trios match, the Texas Death match, the Iron Man match with Danielson and MJF, the fucking Buried Alive match with Jungle Boy and Christian, which I think is like ridiculously good. That show is incredible, and so that's high on my list. On a personal level, the Independence Day New Japan Strong Night 1 show resonates with me so much. I just love it. It's such a cool show. Red Hot Corkin crowd. Love that show. The Muto Retirement show is tremendous. But I gotta say, and this is the first year in I don't know when that my show of the year is a WWE show.
Oh my fucking god!
It is.
Yeah.
I think WrestleMania 39 Night 1 is my show of the year. I think this show is incredible. I think it's like the best WrestleMania singular night ever. When I look at the 4-way tag showcase, when I look at Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins, which was a really big spectacle, when I think about Rey Mysterio coming out to Nothing But a G Thing by Snoop Dogg in a lowrider, and Dominic coming out of the fucking like the ambulance, whatever the fuck he came out of in that match, and the fun that came from that. When I think about Rhea Ripley and Charlotte taking us to the Budokan and suplexing each other, when I think about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn main eventing with the Usos and doing the dance at the highest level, I just think top to bottom, this is like it's literally one of the best shows the company's ever done. That's just my personal opinion. I think it's just big spectacle. Lil Uzi Vert was there performing. Big spectacles, a bunch of matches that I think are like legitimately great. I think it's my show of the year, a slightly over Revolution because of the spectacle, and that's my pick. What do you think, Rob?
I'm gonna go not the same as you, but it's my number 2. My number 1 is Wrestle Kingdom 17 for the show of the year. Just the way it was presented, the way everything was done, it was just from top to bottom. Even though the main event was kind of killed by the first main event, I think from top to bottom, you look at that show, and that's the way a Wrestle Kingdom should be. So,
what do you think, AO?
You know what? Just to be different, I'm gonna say Dominion, bro. That was a real fucking show. We had Grandmaster Wato versus Hiromu. We had Chaos versus the BCC. We had the re-debut of Yota Tsuji, which is like one of my favorite re-debut of all fucking time, bro. Like that I've got to watch live, at least. That was an amazing match.
Gene Blast.
ZSJ continued to just fucking tear with Jeff Cobb. Like there was some real wrestling. There was some real wrestling on Dominion. But I also loved Forbidden Door. I loved Revolution. I loved Double or Nothing was really good. Yeah, man. I'm gonna go with Dominion, man.
Joe, what's the best wrestling event this year?
When you asked the question, I immediately went to Revolution, and as you were mapping out what was on it, I was like kind of happy with that choice. But you took me back with those memories of WrestleMania Night 1. I think that's my pick. It is not as good a show, purely bell to bell, but that is the most enjoyment I've got from a wrestling show this year, and so that reason I pick it. I just thought it was such a triumphant experience and such a joyous experience in a way that no WrestleMania I've personally watched ever has been. Just an absolute blind. The Rey moment, like when someone asked about favorite moments, that Rey Mysterio entrance is one of the coolest moments of the year. It just is. It's an absolutely wonderful moment. I'm so happy he got that. So that's my pick, actually. Yeah, I thought it was a very, very special show, and I just remember how happy I was after it was done, which is very seldom been the case.
Yeah.
For the end of a WrestleMania. I just love that show. That's my pick.
Oh my, there was a stretch of manias where like you just walk out tired and like just kind of like, what the fuck? Yeah, man. Well said for sure. Well said for sure, Rob. I'm gonna give you guys an opportunity to send in your final super chats, and I do want to really quickly lightning round. I'm just gonna shoot out some small awards at you, and I want you guys just you guys can just be adults and just take whoever says it, you just go after the other guy. I'm gonna I'm gonna throw out awards. You throw out names at me. All right. Okay. Best technical wrestler.
Sabre Jr.
Easily CSJ.
Most
Right.
underrated.
I'm gonna say Jungle Boy, bro. It's become cool to hate Jungle Boy, and no matter whether you think he's the future of the company, whether you think he's a pillar, whether you think he's a future main eventer, he's a very good professional wrestler. Oh, and it's sad that he's become the fucking pinata for the IWC recently.
I would say I think Trent is very underrated. I think he's a tremendous worker. I'll
Rob?
take Trent.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna have to go with AO's pick of Jungle Boy.
Best brawler. I'm going with Kevin
Mox.
Owens, actually. Mox is
Oh,
always
Mox.
easy choice.
Oh, yeah.
Give me Joe. Fuck it.
Oh, yeah, I'm changing to Joe. Never mind.
Probably Despy. Despy for
Ooh.
the 2 matches that he's had
He's
recently.
Yeah, it works.
He's become a great wrestler. All right. Let's see here. Worst gimmick.
Uncle Howdy.
Bray Wyatt.
There's even
Uncle
worse
Howdy was
gimmick than
crazy.
Uncle Howdy this year,
No, there's no worst gimmick.
and it's CM Punk for
Oh.
his one Bill Phil gimmick. How quickly a gimmick, how quickly a promo line has just turned around and bit someone in the fucking ass, bro. One Bill Phil. Brandon Thurston's over here reporting that Collision's drawn the same number as Saturday Night Golden Girl reruns, wherever the fuck they put in that time slot.
Golden Girls is a
They're
great
talking
show.
about, they're calling him No Half Mil Phil because he's trying to
Yeah.
break the 500Ks nowadays. It's not looking great for you, Mr. One Bill. He gave up on all that shit. He was like, yo, I'm not touching this no more. We're not doing this no more. The numbers ain't backing it up. I gotta lay off. I'm sorry, Bucks. Please let me in your precious cage match, Bucks. Please let me in your cage match. No, nigga, you're not coming. All right. So one Bill Phil's the worst gimmick of the year.
Yeah, I gotta go with Uncle Howdy.
One Bill Phil's worse.
All right. Okay. Best flying wrestler.
Vikingo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Either Kingo or Commander.
Okay.
Vikingo defies physics.
Worst major wrestling show. I don't even know my answer here because I don't know if I've
Rampage.
watched a major show that I thought was garbage.
I know.
Oh.
I've
Major,
watched some
major.
bullshit, bro.
Major.
But I'm
Not
not
like
the
a
Royal
TV show.
Rumble right now, off the top of my
It's
head.
I gotta say, like, that's not a good show overall. But like Joe, I remember Joe at the time said the broad strokes were good, like Cody winning the Rumble and the bloodline angle. But yeah, a lot of the wrestling on that wasn't good either. I don't know my choices for this.
Look, man, I that was one. I really did not like the Rumble match itself, but that 10 minutes that Cody and whatever 10, 15, whatever
And
that was
Gunther.
that Cody and Walter went. That was wrestling.
It was
wrestling.
it was beast.
But that was literally like the only thing I liked on the show. Everything else was either like okay to the drizzling shits. So yeah,
There was a 40-minute stretch devoted to the Wyatt verse between the Alexa Bliss Bianca
come
match.
on, bro. What are we
And
doing here?
Brother.
That stuff was not good. Yeah.
That was very
I cannot think-
unfortunate. Yeah.
I cannot
I'll
think
tell
of
you
a
what
bad
also-
major wrestling show.
That
I
was
can't even.
a lot of Double or Nothing was not my thing until the
Yeah.
but the main events are great.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
but the main events
I think
are great.
the big matches deliver so much that you kind of have to say like, it was a fine show. You know.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So yeah,
Yeah, I
I'll
don't
tell you what. This is a good year for not having completely dog shit major events. You know, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
there's always a couple stinkers in there. You know?
Yeah.
On that note, some Hayden in the chat said T Summerson stunk, and it did. It was really bad. The Maki Ito match, I can't put it over enough. It was really good, but everything else on there, Jesus Christ, bro. Other promotions were sending over wrestlers. They weren't sending their best, brother. They weren't sending their best. Shout out to Nyla Rose though.
People are
did perfectly
naming
fine.
weekly shows in the chat. We're talking.
Yeah, we're not talking about weekly. We're not talking about Raw,
Yeah.
NXT, whatever. We're talking about like pay-per-views. Like we're talking.
Right.
But with that said, you know what? We'll go right into worst weekly show. Ring of Honor on Honor Club is my pick.
Yes, 100%.
Yes,
It's the worst week. It's AEW Dark with a paywall.
Yeah.
And then
because
LCC
at least Rampage is 50 minutes. You know.
Yeah, you're probably
and
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor's there's genuinely like 3-hour episodes.
I don't know, but like,
come on, bro. What are we doing,
But-
son?
I don't know, but like those segments on Rampage, bro. I don't know, bro.
That's the thing. Like Ring of
Oh,
Honor's
no.
floor is like because it's just matches,
Yeah.
matches.
like-
It's just kind of
Man.
there.
At least,
Rampage
like-
has got some bullshit. Yeah.
but, like,
shitty as
Rampage-
Rampage is, at least it is a wrestling television show. What the fuck is Ring of Honor TV on Honor Club, bro? Like,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with that. All right. What are the,
I'm
what are
sure
the
it's actually Raw or SmackDown, but I don't watch those shows, so I
The
can't
thing
say.
is, Raw
It's
has
For the
Raw
chat,
has,
for everybody that's saying WWE shows in the chat, I don't watch them. So
Raw
It's
has,
not
Raw has
Raw.
Gunther and Cody, man. You know.
Y'all like Cody in 2023?
Yes. Worst feud of the year. I'm gonna go with the surprising pick. I'm gonna go with Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. I think this feud fucking sucks.
Bro, everything I've seen from that has been horrific.
I have a few.
Horrific.
I think this is worse than Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy. Oh, no, sorry, Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, because LA Knight was cutting great promos in that program, and he popped me. Whereas Becky Lynch versus Trish has been bad TV everywhere you look. And Monty cannot talk me out of this.
Worst feud of the year for me is either QTV versus Wardlow, or in terms of hype and expectation and like basically disappointment, Roman versus Cody is my pick for probably the worst TV feud of the year.
I can't say that it was the QTV versus Warlow, even though I was genuinely awful TV, because it was really short. So I was just like, whatever.
I'll tell you what, man. Okay,
Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight was literally like a 3-month feud, bro. And I went out of my way. I seeked out all that shit and I watched it, nigga, just so I could fed bad, and it was worth every single second of it.
I think a good shout. The first, everything in the Outcast program before Ruby Soho joined was really bad.
Yeah.
And
That's
and
probably a good one because nothing happened either.
Yeah.
But I think what the Outcast thing is, right? It's not good, but I'm not gonna call it actively bad because it's just like, well, it is actively bad.
It's not anymore.
Storyline wise,
It's not anymore. Yeah.
It's just whatever. Yeah.
It's literally just the same thing happens every week, so it's just like it's not really even a story.
Yo, that's
Absolutely.
that's 3 weeks in a row where people kept coming out to make the save, bro.
Monty was screaming in the chat, do something else.
Bro, Monty be like, no! Them still not pivoting to like an actual story or like anything actually happening is kind of it's like become a bit at this point.
All right, best non-wrestler. I'm assuming this goes between Callis or Heyman. Take your pick, I guess.
It's Don Callis.
I got Callis.
It's Don Callis.
Good stuff.
Callis.
All the respect in the world to Paul Heyman, but he's been doing the same thing for 3 years now.
Did we do worst gimmick?
Yeah, it was one bill. We all 4-person consensus.
Oh,
was one
all right.
bill, Phil.
What's the best gimmick? I think best gimmick. I might give this. I might give best gimmick to Roman Reigns. Honestly, as the tribal chief. To be honest with you,
best gimmick. I'm giving it to Young Boy Killer Kazuchika Okada. That shit
I like
is
that
awesome,
pick.
bro.
Yeah.
That shit he's doing is amazing.
I could take that too. It's the best stuff we've seen from Okada in a long time. What about you, Rob?
Well, Okada's been pinned in 3 years, so I'm gonna go with the tribal chief, the head of the table, the number one, the greatest of all time, Roman Reigns.
Most outstanding wrestler. I'm going to Orange Cassidy. What do you guys got?
I'll give it to Orange Cassidy too.
That's a good one.
Those,
Or maybe Zach. Or maybe Shingo. I don't know, bro. There's a lot of people.
yeah, no, I'm gonna go Shingo.
Shingo doesn't have the volume. I don't think.
Yeah, he
Because
doesn't
Shingo-
have,
I think
that's really Orange Cassidy's main argument. Like,
Yes.
there's the volume of matches.
Just a lot of
and
high
none of
threes and
them
ups.
being like disappointing or bad.
I like the Zach pick. I think.
But like
I like that. That's a good
my
pick.
thing, my thing with the Shingo thing is just like he's taking something that's like not really revered in KOPW and he's making it
For
like
sure.
mean something.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know.
Worst promotion of the year.
It's the NWA, bro.
Come
It's the
on,
NWA.
man. NWA. Come on, man.
NWA makes MLW look like fucking 1995 All Japan, bro. That shit is crazy.
What the fuck they got going on over there?
It's disgusting.
Tyrus is still main eventing their pay-per-views.
And what's
embarrassing,
most
bro.
despicable about it is, do you know how easy it would be for them to get my money if they were just like bad? I'd probably watch some of it just out of the novelty of it being the NWA. They can't even be bad. They're way worse than bad. It's embarrassing.
Bro, it's
Very, very
literally, Billy,
You know what? I gotta give it. You know what? 2 people have said XPW, and I might give it to that. Who remembers the guy who like had his cock out?
Oh yeah.
Yo, that was crazy.
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah, fair. Well, fair.
Come on, man.
It was like a different category, really. At some
Cock out
point.
wrestlers, loud and proud Nazis. Like they got a lot
Yeah,
going
bro.
on.
Oh, yeah, no, XPW was
He had a dude in the middle of the ring yelling slurs, telling somebody to go back to their country, bro.
bro.
Like,
Yeah, bro. XPW is brutal.
They had to do with the transphobia gimmick. Like, come on, they had a lot of shit going on over there.
I gotta say, if this was 2020, I'd give it a GCW. Because GCW last year had like a stinky year, but you know they're okay. They're
I
hanging in
don't
there.
pay attention to GCW
Yeah,
anymore, bro. So I don't know what they got going on.
They're booking the luchadors and some Joshi people, and they're doing okay. And the last one we're gonna do, who is the worst television announcer in wrestling?
This Kevin Patrick.
Easily Kevin
This
Patrick.
Kevin fucking Patrick, bro.
Bless his heart.
Bless Seems like a nice guy.
He's dreadful. Bless him. He's very bad.
Like, say what you like. Monty can say whatever he wants about Excalibur, and he already put Excalibur in the chat. Like, yes, he hates Excalibur. It's part of the bit. But Kevin Patrick, bro,
Oh, he's
like,
terrible. Man.
No, bro, Kevin Patrick doesn't even. Kevin Patrick doesn't even call Moose. He goes, "Oh,
yo,
she like Corey."
You know, here's the funniest one. Rob, if you like pay attention, next time you watch Raw, pay attention to how he pitches to break because it's really bad. Like he'll be like, "What a clothesline!"
Continue after the break.
No. Listen. He'll be like this. He'll be like, "What a clothesline! Rolls on." I'm like, "Fuck you."
Rolls on.
He always out of breath. It's so weird.
or like a babyface will get rammed into the ring post, and he's like, my shoulder," and he'll be like, "He's in agony," and he'll just go to break. I'm like, what kind of pitch to break is that? Like,
did you see Monty in the chat?
What he said?
Excalibur. Look, man, when I like Excalibur, but when the Tag Team Wrestler of the Year award is officially renamed the Young Bucks Award in the Observer, if you want to name worst announcer the Excalibur Award, that's a trade-off I'm willing to do.
Oh man, good stuff, man. Good stuff. This was fun. This was very long, but I enjoyed this every second of it, to be honest with you guys. Sometimes you got to go do a Broadway. You know what I mean? FTR style, Joe. I don't know if you guys are tired. I'm going to hand out some water bottles now. You know, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling very spry. Good shit, man. Jan Theodore, $2 Canadian promo of the year.
We kind of touched on that earlier, but I think we all agreed on either Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom or Mox calling out Hangman for a Texas Death Match.
I agree. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Right, let's get these plugs in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Listen, go ahead.
No, I was just go ahead, get the plugs in.
No, I was gonna say, guys, man, this has been a lot of fun. You guys have stuck with us for three plus hours, over 150 at all points, and I just had a lot of fun with this. It's been a really, really great year for wrestling, and without doing the whole preachy nonsense, really kind of reviewing it in this way and like going back by it in a highlight type of way makes you realize just how much good shit is going on right now, and like there's so much wrestling curated to what you like out of the business that you can just consume what you like and really be happy with it. And
there's really no reason to be miserable about wrestling right now, bro.
No,
there's something out there for you.
Absolutely.
Well, absolutely. unless you know you're staying up all night on Saturdays. So.
It's not like prior where you just had to watch what's there because you like wrestling and it wasn't giving you what you needed. There is so much out there for what you want out of wrestling. And even if your taste is really niche, there are drug dealers on the corners of wrestling Twitter that will feed you Google Drive links to give you what you need, whether it be BJW or CMLL or whatever it is. So just kind of talking through all this with you guys has been a lot of fun, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate the live chat, guys. I appreciate the panel that I've assembled. It's been a ton of fun. Yeah, man, it's just good shit, guys. Like the video, comment, subscribe, watch Joe Hulbert's fucking Usos video. He worked really hard on it. Ayo, thank you for being here, man. You did your best to be very objective on this show. I appreciate your analysis. Rob, good shit, man. You know what I mean? I like your new camera setup. I'm very proud of you, kid.
Oh wait, while there's people still in here and they don't roll out, follow Wrestle Purist on Twitch.
Real.
A very, very successful Twitch debut. Sitting at, what are we sitting at? 1.2K views, man. It was a great time. We did a watch along. We're definitely gonna do more content. Mm-hmm. I put the link in the chat. It might be in the bio. Monty's yellow ass. It's hard to get him to work sometimes, man. It's hard to get him to work. Mm-hmm. But fuck with us on Wednesdays. We're gonna do Saturday watch alongs too. Maybe Fridays, depending on the Rampage card, if we can get people to volunteer. Yeah, man.
Volunteering for Rampage is crazy.
Hey, man. If you got someone like Claudio Commander on,
yeah,
maybe y'all. maybe I'll give it a shot.
Absolutely. We have one last super chat. Ben Dixon, $2, Australian. Who's the Wrestle Purist of the year so far? I'm
My
picking Manny.
vote is for Chuck. She has become a superstar
Incredible.
Yeah,
in this
Absolutely.
business.
Absolutely.
So shout out to my
every
girl.
week.
She leveled up.
I
Boots.
agree.
Facts.
And he carries us almost every week because he says just so much ridiculous shit. You just let him keep going, right?
It's
He's
funny 'cause
tremendous.
it's not even like we're riding like his energy. Like he's just existing on camera, and we could just like let that go.
The best. The absolute
Absolutely.
best.
Every
Yo.
time I hear Manny go, man, let me tell you.
The head tilts, you know. Yeah.
Or his little kind of like shoulder shrug, like, what do you want? And he'll just kind of say something. Good stuff, man. I love this community. I love this platform. You guys are the best. Guys, this has been the Wrestle Purist mid-year award show. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you guys. Love all you guys. We will see you guys tomorrow for Wrestle Purist Worldwide. Take care.